Ethan woke up half asleep and found himself in an unfamiliar environment. He was in the driver's seat of a dilapidated second-hand car with a steering wheel and a dashboard showing various data of the vehicle. "Why am I in the car?" Ethan muttered to himself. Suddenly his head throbbed. A wave of dizziness struck as countless memories poured into his mind. The world of Cyberpunk 2077. Am I transmigrating? Ethan carefully examined the car. Even though it was an old second-hand vehicle, it contained components unlike anything from his original world. After sorting through the memories in his mind, Ethan was left speechless. Of course, Ethan knew Cyberpunk 2077. He had taken 3 days off when the game launched, chosen the free-spirited nomad life path, and played non-stop until the credits rolled. Apparently, overwork had brought him into this world. Ethan had taken the place of V, the protagonist of Cyberpunk 2077, at the familiar beginning of the nomad life path. He had already left the Backers clan and was now living alone in the Badlands. Night City, Arasaka, Gang, Jackie Wells, T-Bug, Judy. Game characters and familiar scenes flashed through his mind one after another. Congratulations to the host for crossing over, successfully activating the God-level sign-in system. System activation succeeded. Daily sign-in refresh. Do you check in? A series of synthetic voices echoed in his mind, but Ethan remained calm on the surface. A sign-in system? What a cliché, but it's simple and crude. I like it. The corners of Ethan's mouth lifted. Sign in successful. The host gets perfect driving mastery. The system's voice sounded as a vast amount of relevant knowledge flooded into Ethan's mind. It took him only a few seconds to fully absorb the perfect driving mastery. The skill covered far more than driving. It also included vehicle maintenance and modification. Cars, aircraft, land vehicles, watercraft, anything that required a human operator, Ethan could now control with ease. What a pervert! Ethan exclaimed inwardly. He was already imagining using his car to run over those Arasaka dogs. After recovering his thoughts, Ethan glanced at the second-hand car's condition on the dashboard display. The main fuel tank was empty, and the reserve tank had only about 20% remaining. Besides the low fuel, there was also a problem with the cable coupling beside the engine. If it failed, Ethan would be stranded in the wilderness. Ethan checked his current location, and the holographic projection map popped up, automatically displaying the current location and surrounding areas. This wreck won't make it to Night City. I need to get it repaired. Ethan muttered to himself and then set his destination to a nearby town. The sun rose in the east, casting warm golden light across the barren ground. Abandoned houses and heaps of scrap lined both sides of the road. In the Badlands, there seemed to be more ruins and garbage than people. Ethan drove into the town, wandered around for a while, and finally found the mechanic Mike's repair shop. Mike was smoking a cigarette at the door of the repair shop, watching a second-hand car with an sparking hood slowly drive over, then got up and opened the garage shutter of the repair shop. Ethan drove the car into the repair shop and just turned off the engine when he heard Mike tusk in amazement and said, "My God, how did you manage to drive this thing here? I'm in a hurry, you just need to fix the car." Ethan said lightly, although he could repair it himself, doing so in someone else's shop would be troublesome. "Don't worry, I'll get it done." Mike put on the electrostatic gloves and opened the hood to see what was inside. He was also shocked. "God, is this already the case? By the way, do you have a bathroom here?" Ethan asked. "Go in, it's on the left." Ethan went to the bathroom and simply washed his face. From the reflection in the mirror, it could be seen that Mike did not start to repair the car, but first calculated the repair cost with the data pad. "Take a look. Repairs will cost at least this much." Mike handed the data pad to Ethan. Ethan looked at the amount. He could not afford it, but his expression remained calm. "Mike, this is not the price." "Price?" Mike smiled and sat on the hood of the car with his arms crossed. "You're a nomad and you think you know the market price. I'm sorry, this is the price here. You can find someone else or you can fix it yourself." "Do you also think the homeless are a group of heinous people?" Ethan said. "Sorry, I'm not interested in debating philosophy. Either you pay or you have the tools yourself, or you go elsewhere to see who else repairs the homeless car." Mike said, "Then let it go." Ethan picked up a wrench and waited no longer. "Cool." Mike stepped aside and said with interest, "What are you going to do?" Ethan opened the hood with one hand and looked at the arcing engine unit and said, "I'm going to tear off the faulty coupling." With that, Ethan loosened a few key screws with a wrench, tore off the discarded coupling wire, and reconnected the remaining wires. "Not bad, but how long will it hold?" Mike said. "Long enough to reach Night City." Ethan put down the wrench and was about to thank him when someone pulled the shutter from behind. "Mike, I don't remember you having guests here." The shutters were pulled open, and a small town police officer walked in. Mike obviously panicked and quickly explained, "Officer, he just arrived, I thought he greeted you." "Don't panic, Mike." The police officer waved his hand and said, "We can talk this out." "Mike, thank you." Despite the tension, Ethan calmly thanked him. The police officer's gaze shifted to Ethan and looked at Ethan for a while. "What are you doing here?" "As you can see, my car broke down," Ethan said. Mike's expression on the side changed. This nomad truly had no sense of tact. The police officer's eyes flashed a hint of playfulness, and he approached Ethan and said, "My name is Andrew Jones. I'm a police officer in the town. You should have heard of it." "No," Ethan shook his head. "Huh." Andrew Jones sat directly on the hood and said, "I fought in the war. Ever heard of the Silver Shogun? Not interested." Ethan opened the car door, sat in the car, and tried to start the car. Boom. The engine sounded, the car started successfully, and the display of the vehicle improved a lot. Mike, who was beside him, was confused at this time. Did this nomad have a death wish? Officer Andrew has a bad temper in the first place. How could he dare provoke him so openly? You don't seem to be very good at talking, right? Andrew Jones did not get off the hood, but his tone became indifferent. The first thing you should have done when you came to town was greet me, even if it was only over a cup of coffee, or go to the toilet. Forget it, I shouldn't expect nomads to be polite. Andrew Jones said directly, "Which family do you belong to and where is the clan?" "Others. I work alone." "Interesting." Andrew Jones jumped off the hood and stood in front of the car. Ethan, who was sitting in the driver's seat, did not consider such a minor figure worth his attention. He just wanted to contact Jackie Wells now. So Ethan took out a communicator like a pager in front of Andrew Jones and connected it to the car antenna. There was only the sound of electric current. In front of the car, Andrew Jones' eyes changed again. Not only was this nomad rude, but he dared to take out contraband in front of him. In this era, the corporations control access to nearly all technology, such as person-to-person network access, and it has to be based on the electronic products and services the company sells, such as products that were privately modified decades ago in Ethan's hands. It was contraband. "Nomad, do you know what you have in your hand?" Andrew Jones's voice became cold. Illegal possession of contraband was enough to justify shooting him, of course. If the nomad gives a sum of money and if you beg for mercy, it will have another effect. "Speaking of this, I forgot." Ethan smiled and looked at Andrew Jones, who was blue-faced. "I need to find someone, but my antenna is broken. On my way here, I saw a telecom tower here. I need to use it." Speaking of which, there was no room left for negotiation. Andrew Jones would not accept a nomad despising him so many times. He touched his waist and took out a pistol. "I'm going to blow your dog's head." Andrew Jones grinned and prepared to fire. Ethan was faster than him, and when Andrew Jones was about to pull the trigger, he stepped on the accelerator directly to the bottom. Boom, 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 dilapidated second-hand car surged forward at full power. The engine roared as the car slammed into Andrew Jones, who flew out and hit the road barrier. The next second, Ethan drove a tail drift and hit Andrew Jones again. One hit was never enough. That felt good. When playing the game, Ethan just wanted to kill this idiot directly, but unfortunately it was a little troublesome in the game. After a car hit and killed Andrew Jones, Ethan drove directly to the town's telecom tower. He wasn't worried about chasing him or anything. A police officer like this in a Badlands town was a dog to the company, and if it didn't trigger the fundamental order of Night City and the company, no one important would bother investigating. The telecom tower is the tallest building in the town, and it's easy to find. Ethan drove to the front and faced the locked door with one foot. After kicking the door open, he came to the signal box at the highest point of the broadcast tower without any obstruction. After connecting the communicator with the small town antenna, Ethan successfully found the person in charge of technology in the previous family, and promised it would be the last time he called, and successfully got the position of Jackie Wells. After coming out of the telecom tower, Ethan drove out of the town. After driving for about a day, when the sun finally went down, Ethan came to the connection point and saw the small, dilapidated house. That big fool Jackie Wells is inside. "Damn it, I'm already broke and you're still asking me for money." As soon as he walked to the door, he heard the familiar scolding voice of Jackie Wells in the dilapidated hut. Knock, knock. Ethan reached out and knocked on the metal door that was open. Who? Jackie Wells has cut off the phone and loaded the pistol directly. This is the keen reaction of the former mercenary. "Your delivery partner." Ethan said, "Come in." When Ethan entered the door, he saw Jackie Wells on the sofa in the corner. He was sitting on the sofa with a gun in one hand and a metal box with one foot and looked at Ethan. It's me. It's really hard to find this place." Ethan said a word and brushed aside the fact that he was late. Jackie Wells was stunned and then said, "The sheriff in the town is indeed a..."
Hey everyone, welcome to FanFic Canon. Thanks for hitting play. I'm thrilled to bring this fan-made story to life for you. If you enjoy the ride and want more narrated fanfics, smash, subscribe, and tap the bell so you never miss an episode. And if you want audiobook of a novel of your choice, join my Patreon. Request any title that's freely available online, and I'll produce a full narration just for you. Now, let's dive into today's adventure.
Brain dead. Okay, let's make a confession before we do things. Jackie Wells put away his gun and stretched out his big hand to introduce himself. "I'm Jackie Wells, you can just call me Jack. My name is Ethan, and I'm also V, you can call me just by looking at it." Ethan shook hands with him and said, "As an NPC whose plot is very important and very good, Ethan can naturally be frank." "Ethan, Dongfang's name, it's cool." Jackie Wells praised, "Fortunately you are here, otherwise I thought you were going to stand me up." The car broke down on the road, so it was delayed. Ethan said, "Okay, aren't you curious about what's inside?" Jackie Wells asked. Ethan shook his head. Naturally, some scavenger stole it, then another scavenger stole it from them. After changing hands several times, it finally reached you. "I don't need to know, maybe I can get a good night's sleep." "Ha ha ha ha, you are so interesting." Jackie Wells laughed and said, "V, I think we're going to get along. Load the car, we'll talk after we cross the border." Ethan said, "Okay." Jackie Wells picked up the metal case and walked out the door. "Before we met, I was worried that you were not reliable, but now you are very stable. I'll take it as you compliment me." Ethan opened the trunk and let him put the metal case inside. "Are some of the materials for clearance ready?" "It's a must. According to what we contacted before, there is nothing missing." Ethan nodded and threw the car keys to Jackie Wells, who was confused for a while. "The smell of a nomad is too strong on me. The border crossing may find fault and I have never stopped here." Ethan said and sat in the passenger seat. "Then I'll drive." Jackie Wells sat in the driver's seat and said confidently, "I drive very steadily. I'll wake you up at the border crossing." Ethan snorted and closed his eyes. He genuinely needed the rest. The most important thing was that after passing the border crossing, the Corpo dog of Arasaka would definitely catch up, so the passenger seat would become the firing position. "Ethan, wake up, we're here." I don't know how long I slept. Ethan was woken up by Jackie Wells and looked out the car window. It was completely dark. Ethan glanced at the dashboard. It was 3 o'clock in the morning. There were not many cars on the road, and even fewer leave the border crossing. "V, it's not the first time you've run this kind of private life, right?" Jackie Wells was beginning to look nervous when he approached. "No problem." Ethan can't reveal the news that there will be a shootout right now, otherwise how can Jack drive well if his mentality is broken? "Okay, I'm not nervous." Jackie Wells took a few deep breaths and said, "You are a professional and crossing the border is as easy as eating and drinking." "It's not a big problem, where's the cred chip?" Ethan said. "Here." Jackie Wells handed over a chip containing money. The car soon approached the border crossing and then began to slow down. "Please drive your vehicle to the inspection area." An armed border guard gestured and directed the vehicle to a specific area. "Please sit in the vehicle and don't move, and the comprehensive inspection will begin immediately." The system voice rang, and scanner arrays around the inspection area emitted red beams and searched for concealed cargo. "I have a bad feeling about this." Jackie Wells became nervous again. "Relax, they'll see if you're nervous." Ethan patted him on the shoulder and said, "Give me the customs declaration." Jackie Wells handed over a file bag. Ethan opened it and saw the big Loa on the blacklist. "It's not bad to have a Loa." Ethan said, "What does Loa mean?" Jackie Wells didn't understand the smuggling procedure. "It means lost on arrival, that is, after the border crossing, everything will be lost." Ethan explained. "The co-pilot passenger in the vehicle is requested to assist in further investigation." Ethan got out calmly and then came to the door of the border control building. After entering the border control building, Ethan walked directly to the security desk and put a pistol on the table. The registration officer glanced at Ethan. "This gentleman, please go to the number 2 interrogation room." Ethan walked into the number 2 interrogation room. The room was not very big. The only light source was concentrated in the middle, placed on a long table and 2 chairs. The border guard in charge of the inquiry glanced at Ethan and said, "Please take a seat here." "Document?" Ethan sat down and handed over the black document. The border guard first lit a cigarette and without reading the contents he said, "What's in the car?" "It's all written on the document," Ethan said. The border guard let out a puff of smoke and smiled. "I didn't ask you any other questions, so don't give me irrelevant answers." Normally, they would ask where he had come from and where he was going, and of course there are also officers who ignored the usual routine, such as now. "What's in the car?" the border guard said in a serious tone. Ethan didn't panic, looked directly into his eyes and said slowly, "Sir, I think you should examine the documents. You may find something worthwhile." When the border guard saw this, he lowered his eyes to the documents. In the mezzanine of the document, he saw a special chip. Cough, cough. The border guard sat up and his tone and attitude changed visually. "Very good, you have no problem. I wish you a pleasant journey, sir. Money made the world go around, and in 2077 too." Ethan walked out of the interrogation room and brought back his pistol at the registration desk. Just as he was about to leave, he was stopped. "Please wait a moment, sir." The person in the registration room said, "The person in the know. To interrogation room just left a positive rating for you saying that you are a good person. Thank him for me." Ethan said, but he was suspicious for a while. There was no story of being stopped here when playing games before. The person in the registration room smiled and looked at Ethan's pistol and said, "This gentleman, I don't think your weapon is particularly powerful." Ethan smiled dumbly. "Yes, but what work can I do? I also want top-notch weapons, but unfortunately the company's products are too expensive to buy." "Sir, the company's goods are indeed expensive, but it's not just the company that has goods here." The person in the registration room continued, "Drivers who receive a favorable rating in our border inspections have a small privilege. They may purchase powerful self-defense weapons at a discount. Do you need it, sir?" Ethan understands that this guy is trying to sell him a weapon. It is ironic to say that Arasaka possessed military-grade weapons, and generally the weapons that can be obtained are not only company goods, but also smuggled decades ago. Ethan walked out of the border control building and quickly returned to the co-pilot. "How is Ethan's situation?" Jackie Wells asked with concern. "Hurry up and drive away from this place." Ethan said, "No problem, I wouldn't stay here even if they paid me." Jackie Wells started the fire and drove away from the border crossing. After the official crossing, Jackie Wells's worries along the way were swept away. "It's great, brother, this job should pay well, and you can also share a lot of money." Ethan just smiled. An exotic lizard might be useful for the company to study biotechnology. But if you can't find a buyer to smash it into your hands, you would be stuck with a very expensive animal. Jackie Wells chattered nonstop while driving, saying that he had a good time in Night City, knew a lot of good people, and knew a lot of hot chicks. Ethan, who knew Jackie Wells well, naturally didn't believe this guy's empty boasting. "Ding, sign in refresh, do you sign in?" The system prompt sounded and Ethan was stunned. It seemed that the sign-in time coincided with the first day, and subsequent sign-ins would also be triggered at 3:30 in the morning. Sign in successful, the host has obtained perfect firearms mastery. The use and experience of all weapons and firearms are all integrated into Ethan's mind. At the same time, the maintenance and modification of firearms are also integrated. In addition to ordinary firearms, even more advanced military weapons and cybernetic weapons were included as well. Good stuff. Ethan sighed, and he was about to start a fight with the Corpo dog, which made the coming fight far less dangerous. The car is driving on the highway, and Night City's mirage-like skyline can be seen through the window. "Ethan, we're going to Night City soon, the place everyone dreams of reaching." Jackie Wells looked at Ethan with a solemn expression while driving. "What's wrong?" "Jack, just drive, don't stop." When Ethan finished speaking, he saw a fork in the road ahead and several special vehicles were crossing the middle of the road. "Stop the vehicle ahead immediately." "Shit." Jackie Wells now knew why and hurriedly jerked the steering wheel and sped in the other direction. Seeing that the vehicle was not cooperating, Arasaka's car also caught up immediately. "The items you transported are corporate property and are suspected of smuggling. Final warning, stop the vehicle." Without saying a word, Ethan leaned out of the car window and took out the shotgun he bought from the border crossing. Load, aim, fire, boom, the shotgun roared. A deafening gunshot smashed the front windshield of the most closely pursued corporate vehicle, and the scattered bullets struck the driver in the face. As soon as the driver died, the vehicle immediately lost control and then crashed into the roadside and exploded into flames. After spraying, Ethan flashed back into the car and stray bullets flew by. "Damn, how could this happen?" Jackie Wells is on the verge of panic. 1 second he was still imagining that he would be cool after finishing his work and getting money, but this second he was chased by the Corpo dog in the hail of bullets. "V, what's going on? Didn't you say there would be no problem?" "So what's going on now?" Compared with Jackie Wells' panic, Ethan said calmly, "It's very simple, we were sold and the border crossing ate our bribe and then reported the company to eat the company's reward. Damn, those bastards took our money and still betrayed us." Jackie Wells roared and patted the steering wheel. Jack, calm down, Ethan reassured. V, I can't calm down, I'm being chased by the corpo dog. One mistake and I'll die on the spot. How can I calm down? Scold. Ethan pouted, and after telling him to keep driving, he leaned out of the car window again. The company has a lot of cars this time, and they have been chasing after them. Because of the exchange of fire, the company's agents also leaned out of the window and fired, trying to force the vehicle in front to stop. Ethan sticks out the car window, raised the shotgun and fired without appearing to aim. Boom. The moment the gunshot rang, Ethan pulled himself back inside. The front wheel of a corporate vehicle behind was directly blown up, and the car lost control and rushed into the gutter. V, your marksmanship. Jackie Wells had stopped yelling. He saw the whole process of Ethan's shooting in the reflector. Reloading inside a moving car, sticking out the body and raising the gun to shoot. When people come back, the company car is useless. Jackie Wells, a former mercenary, knows what this kind of marksmanship means. Without enough wars and human lives, such marksmanship could not be developed. Jack, everyone has a secret. Ethan snorted. He naturally wouldn't reveal the system. It's true that everyone has a secret. Jackie Wells nodded, not as irritable as before. He skillfully drove the car to dodge left and right, avoiding a large number of stray bullets. Bullets clacked against the body, but none of the powertrains were hit. V, what are you going to do? Jackie Wells said. Destroy the corpo dogs. Ethan said lightly and then shot out the car window again. Boom, gunshots sounded and another corporate vehicle was scrapped. Jackie Wells said with fiery eyes, okay, then smash these corpo dogs. The company is above all heads, takes over all people's lives, and uses the company system to regulate everyone. It can be said that anyone with a spine can't stand the corporate-controlled existence. Jackie Wells admired Ethan's strength and calmness, and so a running gunfight began. The obviously better corporate vehicle in charge of the pursuit couldn't catch a second-hand car. It was obvious that as soon as the person in the car appeared, he would overturn a car. Over time, the company's vehicles have not dared to chase. Can't catch up, can't beat. Closing the distance would only get them killed. Every car and every person is the property of the company, so all the losses have exceeded the value of the goods themselves. After a while, the company completely stopped the pursuit. It's cool. I haven't been this cool for a long time. Jackie Wells danced with excitement on the road. It was the first time he had experienced such a big downfall for the company. V, you are too strong. This time the people and weapons from the company are not the most advanced, so I'm lucky. Ethan didn't care too much. V, you don't have to be so arrogant. Jackie Wells said, I've been in Night City for a long time and there are very few people like you. Believe my brother, you can make a name for yourself and become a legend. Let's talk about it. Most legends of Night City end up in the graveyard. The car drove to an abandoned warehouse. Jackie Wells got out of the car and opened the trunk, but the contents inside were intact. Thank goodness the cargo was intact. Jackie Wells sighed. Ethan got out of the car and said directly, it's already over the border now. Pay me and we'll call it even. Jackie Wells was suddenly embarrassed. To tell you the truth, V, I'm afraid I don't have your payment yet. You play bait and switch with me. Ethan lowered his voice deliberately to see Jack's reaction. V, Ethan, don't get excited. Jackie Wells immediately began to play tricks. I'm not a defaulter. As long as I give this thing to my client, I can share the money with you. Jack, I don't need this commission, but you must promise me one thing. What did you say? Jackie Wells wondered whether he had heard correctly. Don't want this commission, just promise one thing. You heard right, I don't need the money, you just promise me one thing. Ethan said, don't be so troublesome. Jackie Wells patted Ethan's shoulder with a big hand and laughed loudly. V, you and I are so right. Now that you're in Night City, you can count on me. I am very loyal to my friends. Ethan did not speak. Jackie Wells looked at Ethan with a serious face and couldn't come out. You're serious. Am I joking? Ethan asked back. Either you give me the money now or I don't want the money and you promise me something. Jackie Wells is a flesh and blood person in the game, loyal to his friends, and a rare good friend in the cold cyberpunk world. He sacrificed in the original plot to capture the relic mission. Now that Ethan has come in, whatever you say will change the ending of that big fool's death. V, I don't quite understand. Jackie Wells scratched the back of his head. I'm not playing your mother's favorite soap opera with you. Choose yes or no. Ethan said quickly. Jackie Wells was startled. What kind of money does he have now? But looking at this simple V, Ethan's straightforward nature suited him, and he is also a simple person, so he simply doesn't bother so much. Okay, I promise you one thing. Okay, as for what to promise, I'll tell you later, it won't hurt you. Ethan said. It doesn't matter, everyone in Night City knows that Jack keeps his word. Jackie Wells shrugged and looked at the metal case in the trunk. V, why don't we see what's in the box? What would your buyer's expression look like if they saw that the courier had been opened before it arrived? F***K buyers, sellers, middlemen, the most important thing in Night City is people who buy things. Jackie Wells laughed and scolded his big hands on the metal case and said, "We almost died because of this thing. See what happened? I'm going, it's from the Arasaka." Jackie Wells took a closer look and shivered. Ethan scolded the coward and said, "What about the Arasaka merchandise? Are you afraid?" "I'm afraid of a ball." Jackie Wells said, entered the password and opening the box. The lid of the box was opened and a low-pressure preservation mist, something used only for high-end cargo, hissed out. The white smoke cleared and inside lay a green living lizard. This little guy should be of the Lesser Antilles. Jackie Wells grabbed the lizard in his hand and said, "This little guy had supposedly been extinct more than 30 years ago, and now it's like this. It's just incredible, this time we can make a lot of money." Ethan hugged his arms and said, "Deliver it to the buyer as soon as possible to the buyer, it's over. Don't worry about it." Jackie Wells put the lizard back in the box and said, "What are you going to do next? Are you going back to find your family?" Ethan shook his head, "I've left the family and I'm working alone." "Then do you want to go to Night City?" Jackie Wells asked for the second time, "I've always been a good judge of character and we will be good partners." "Then let's go." Night City is a thriving metropolis with countless people entering it every second of every day. Everyone regards the Night City as the dream city, a city of freedom. In fact, under the control of the corporate consortium, everyone has been assigned roles. Profit stood above both life and death. At dawn, the sky is bright. Ethan and Jackie Wells came to Night City. Although they have played in the game, no amount of game graphics could recreate the reality before him. Night City extends in all directions, and there is no such thing as a so-called city wall. After entering the urban area, it will completely enter the company's control scope. Walking in the Night City, you will find that this and the outside are two worlds. The towering industrial buildings, roads twisting across the ground like snakes, the flying cars that appear in the air from time to time, and the ubiquitous holographic projection advertisements. Of course, this is only 20% of the Night City. The real Night City is at night. The car drove to the Watson area, which is where the civilian gangs of Night City mingled and where Jackie Wells lived. I have already greeted the landlord. The room you live in is right downstairs from me. You can live without worry. You won't need to worry about rent or utilities. In the elevator, Jackie Wells vowed. Ethan didn't refuse. He confiscated Jackie Wells' money. The money he brought from the Backers clan had already been spent on shotguns along the way. Soon, the elevator stopped at the 23rd floor. Have a good night's sleep. I'll show you a drink in the evening and show you the beauty of Night City." Ethan walked out of the elevator and immediately felt the contrast. The elevator is well lit and clean, and the display screen is very high definition. The voice of the host introducing the company's new technology products in installments is also very loud. After stepping out of the elevator, what met his eyes was the dimly lit and crowded corridor. Dim lights are due to short circuits in lighting equipment, and crowding is simply because there are too many people. In the world of 2077, various technologies are very developed, especially the technology of cybernetics has been pushed to the 4th generation. The modification of the cyberware combined with the human body is as common as an ear stud. In addition to cybernetics, there are also various artificial organs. It can be said that as long as you have money, you can't die. As a super large city with a high concentration, Night City has many people coming in, many people leaving, and many people disappearing every day. But the only constant is the lively here. The corridors are full of mixed people, some squatting in the corner to smoke, some gathering in groups of 3 or 5 to brag. The skin on the wall has fallen off and exposed the ugly concrete beneath, and water dripped in the corners, and mice passing by from time to time. The air was filled with the smell of smoke and the pungent smell of bad perfume. There are also a lot of women here, each with bright red lipstick wearing short and exaggerated costumes and winking at everyone from time to time. "Handsome guy, do you want to be happy? I'm cheap." As Ethan walked, a woman with a modified face greeted her, and she purred suggestively. One thing to say, Ethan thinks that Cyberpunk's mechanical cyberware is good, but it is only limited to equipment and fights, like this kind of powerlessness to say hello to the face. After squeezing out from the mixed crowd, Ethan came to a house at the end. He placed his palm on the palm print recognition area and started scanning. Biometric identification passed, welcome home. The door opened, Ethan walked in, and the smart home equipment inside started working immediately. The welcome home and the indoor temperature adjusted to a constant temperature of 26 degrees. The light source is turned on and the ambient lighting is automatically recognized. The weather is good today, the curtains have been opened. The display is turned on and 54 talk show channels are automatically pushed. As the apartment was fully automated, Ethan looked at the room and sure enough it was much more realistic than the highest special effects in the game. Ethan walked in the room. The area is not large, but it is clean. The scenery on the 23rd floor is also good. You can see the sky rails and some luxury cars flying around, and you can also see neon signage during the day. He went to the bathroom, took a brief shower, and went to bed. He slept. Ethan slept from day to evening. Doo-doo-doo-doo, the phone rang and Ethan opened his eyes on the bed. Incoming call, Jack. Ethan pressed to answer. Hey Ethan, are you awake? Do you still remember what we're going to do? Jackie Wells' voice on the phone sounded very happy. The lizard deal had probably gone well, leaving him in a cheerful mood. Drink. Ethan got up from the bed and walked to the bathroom to wash. God, you just woke up, so hurry up, I'm already in the garage downstairs and Night City's girls are waiting. Jackie Wells urged and hung up the phone. Ethan took a shower, changed clothes in the cloakroom, and went out. In the underground garage, Jackie Wells sat in the driver's seat and swayed his body to the rhythm of the rhythm. Seeing Ethan coming over, he waved, V, over here. Ethan walked to the front. The car had been repaired, the bullet holes in the body had been repaired, and even the paint had been changed to a tough black. V, how's it going? Jackie Wells said proudly, although you don't want commissions, but brother, I can't do things like eating alone. The car has been repaired and the parts inside are all replaced. Not bad. Ethan nodded and said where to go next. In the game's plot, after entering Night City, the perspective is cut to half a year later, and the scavenger is dealt with in Japantown. But looking at it now, Ethan needs to start over step by step, but it doesn't matter, it's more interesting. Of course it's the most interesting place to go to Night City. Jackie Wells kept the destination secret. You'll understand when you get there. The car drove out of the underground garage to the street, and the remaining 80% of the Night City were all displayed. There are more people at night than in the daytime, and all kinds of vehicles are driving on the streets, shuttling back and forth under the huge neon LED lights in the city. This is the real Night City, the place that holds everything and squeezes it all out. V, if you stay for a long time, you will realize that this place is just like that. Jackie Wells glanced at Ethan and laughed at the night outside the window. It's not the same. Ethan said, if the whole city is set on fire, the city will be reborn with new vitality and order. The whole city was set on fire, giving it new vitality and order. Jackie Wells thought after a while and felt his blood boil. Damn, this is F***G cool. At this time, Jack didn't know that Ethan's words would become a reality in the future. Of course, this is a later story. The car turned around on the road and came to a complicated residential area. This was the true essence of Night City, which is completely different from the clean and uninhabited places on the street. It is full of everyday life, a grounded, lived-in atmosphere. The car soon drove to Lizzie's bar. The sign of Lizzie's bar is a very recognizable, human-shaped neon sign. The two people watching the scene at the door are also stylishly dressed women, of course, on the premise of ignoring their extensive cybernetic modifications. Hey, good evening, two beautiful ladies. Jackie Wells greeted very naturally. Jack. The two women saw that the old acquaintance also gave Jackie Wells a familiar greeting, and then their eyes shifted to Ethan. Jack, why has this handsome guy never brought this handsome guy around before? One of them asked, looking very interested in Ethan. Ethan is really handsome. He looks a lot like Hong Kong actor Wu Yanzu. In 2077, which was where almost everyone had undergone cybernetic modification, such a natural handsome guy is indeed eye-catching. Ha ha ha, his name is V, he's my good brother. Jackie Wells took Ethan and introduced him. The eyes of the two women wandered around Ethan for a while before smiling. We remembered, you are welcome, V, come in and have fun. The two women moved out of the way. Let's talk later. Jackie Wells took Ethan into the Lizzie bar and said, what am I talking about? I'm very busy in Night City. I know a lot of chicks, just the two at the door seem to be interested in you. As long as if you want you can spend the night together or even together. Ethan coughed and said, stop talking about this and have a drink. Jackie Wells said, as if I understood you, you're from the East, you prefer being subtle, I understand. Ethan is powerless to complain, do you understand? It's just that I'm not interested in the kind of modification that affects the beauty. If it is normal beauties, Ethan can easily charm them. Entering the Lizzie's bar is like entering another world with deafening music blowing in your face. The bar is a membership system. With Jack's leadership, Ethan can naturally enter. There are security guards in black suits all around to maintain order in the bar and prevent unsightly people from making trouble. The two found a booth, and they could see a lot of hot girls dancing sexy dances on the stage, and the clothes on their bodies became less and less as the rhythm swayed. Many people on the dance floor are also dancing with partners. The Lizzie's Bar is indeed an interesting place. Numbing alcohol, the deafening music, and the lust-inducing shows can really draw people away from the busy chaos. V. Toast to our friendship. Jackie Wells poured 2 glasses of wine. Ethan toasted his glasses and drank them all. Ha ha ha, welcome to Night City, Jackie Wells said. Ethan rolled his eyes at him and said, my ears are getting calluses when I hear this. It's different. Jackie Wells said, I have a hunch that we can do something great together. Ethan was too lazy to listen to Jack's repeater behavior, so he directly asked the waiter for 2 more bottles of wine. After opening the lids of the 2 bottles, he pushed Jackie Wells a bottle. Stop talking, let's go. Do you know how much alcohol is in this bottle? Jackie Wells was stunned. So are you still going? Ethan grabbed a bottle of wine and touched it and then drank straight from it. Okay, I'll accompany you to the end. Jackie Wells was also infected and also picked up the bottle and drank straight from it. After drinking, my mood instantly improved a lot. Ha ha ha, V, you're the first person I feel right in my heart, and I swear it feels like fate. Jackie Wells' adjectives have always been bad. How about you, as a new friend? Okay. Ethan said the main storyline was already familiar with many characters at the beginning, and now it's not bad to go through it step by step. Go. Jackie Wells got up and led the way while Ethan followed behind. Jackie Wells took Ethan directly to the backstage of Lizzie's Bar. The gatekeeper did not stop him after seeing the familiar face, and the two were able to enter the basement floor. The basement floor is empty, but still packed with servers, computers, and electronic equipment. There is a workbench near the wall, and in front of the workbench is a slender figure. Jack, didn't I tell you not to come downstairs? A nice voice sounded. Judy, I'm here to introduce you to a new friend. Jack, I don't need new friends, you know. While talking, Judy took off the special equipment used for Braindance's editing. Have you finished watching the raw Braindance I gave you last time? Cough. Jackie Wells, blushing, defended. Judy, is it really good for you to reveal the privacy of the guests like this? Didn't you also bring people without my permission? It's even. Judy turned around from the chair and was a little surprised when she saw Ethan. Let me introduce. Jackie Wells said, this is my good brother V, can also be called Ethan. Ethan is the best Braindance editor Judy in Night City. Judy Alvarez. Judy said, Jack, your friend is good looking. Do you want to be a Braindance star? Judy, you're wrong. Jackie Wells laughed. V is a master, and his skills and marksmanship are very good. 4th generation cyberware. Listening to Jack's description and looking at Ethan's appearance, there is no metal wire for cybernetic transformation at all. Judy also has a judgment. The first 3 generations of cybernetic technology will leave traces on the modified parts, and only the 4th generation can achieve no traces. It's not the 4th generation cyberware, it's completely natural. Ethan corrected. A rare smile appeared on Judy's face. Jack, your friend is very interesting. Tell me what you want. People only come down here for Braindances. We are here for this. Jackie Wells said, the so-called most perfect Braindance experiences in Night City are garbage, and only here is the best. I won't charge less for your compliments. Judy said, unmoved. Are you experiencing it together or separately? I don't have to. Jackie Wells waved his hand and said, it's mainly to experience with V. Ethan is no stranger to the Braindance experience. Braindance isn't anything mystical, it's Night City's most popular form of entertainment. It is to transfer the experience of others through digital recording from a specialized device into the user's nervous system, so that the user can fully experience and recreate every sensation, inner failings, thinking, and memory of the viewer. True restoration. What type do you like? Judy asked. Explain in advance that there are very few normal goods here. Most of them are black super dreams. The production of Braindance is generally produced by large companies. Ironically, the company almost uses the rules of Iron and Blood to govern Night City, but the production of Braindance is tamer and more sanitized, and there are few elements of blood and violence. Black Super Dream is more like the adult-only material in turn, blood, violence, pornography, and challenging the senses as a gimmick. Judy V is a real tough guy. Yesterday, under the pursuit of the Corpo dogs, he relied on a shotgun to blow up 4 or 5 cars in the hail of bullets. At least a dozen Corpo dogs were killed. Jackie Wells looked at the regular stuff on the shelf. This is my brother, you can make something exquisite. Judy picked up a chip on the workbench and said, this is the latest ruthless product. The approximate plot is to throw 100 people at the same time into a desperate island full of various weapons and firearms. The island has poisonous gas contractions, except for all of you are enemies, and only those who live to the end can be saved. Can you? As an illegal Braindance editor, Judy will launch some new products every once in a while, and then slowly put them on it for people to enjoy. This piece of desperate island is currently the most difficult illegal braindance in Judy's hands, and no one has ever experienced it. Try it, Ethan said and lay down by himself. He almost laughed out loud in his heart. Isn't this desperate island just a battle royale? If it is not for bragging about FPS games, there is no Ethan that can't beat it, especially when a battle royale, he is a skilled marksman. Lying in the position of braindance experience, Ethan is ready. After Judy inserted the chip of Desperate Island into the host, he handed Ethan a braindance device like a headset. This braindance, even I didn't go to the end. If there was any discomfort during the process, I immediately spoke up, Judy said. No problem, Ethan said. Judy hits the start button and the braindance experience begins. With a strong flash of light, Ethan entered a sleep state and officially loaded into Braindance Desperate Island. In Braindance, Ethan is a soldier sitting in the cabin of a military transport plane. Next to him are 99 expressionless soldiers. Arrived over the island, please skydive. The aircraft broadcast sounded, the cabin door opened, and a strong airflow rushed in, blowing everyone's clothes. At the moment when the cabin door was completely opened, Ethan rushed out with a vigorous step, grabbed the parachute gear and rushed out of the cabin for the first time. Outside the Braindance, Judy and Jack can see Braindance in action. Judy was startled when she saw Ethan jumping for the first time. Desperate Island. A illegal Braindance that even the producer Judy didn't make it to the end. After being experienced by Ethan, the situation changed completely. Now Judy looks at the experience screen returned by Ethan and was left speechless. Damn, is this the massacre simulator? Jackie Wells, who had seen Ethan's greatness on the side, still couldn't help but swear. He knew that Ethan was a D***K, but he never thought that he could be this incredible. In the picture, Ethan flew directly to the military base in the most difficult location of Desperate Island, after parachuting. After landing at the military base, Ethan directly used his combat skills to kill the enemy who landed beside him. He moved incredibly fast. It only takes 10 seconds to travel through a house. In 10 seconds, Ethan can loot and equip the best gear. Cold weapon crossbow, iron rod, pistol Uzi, M416, AK-47, 98K. In Ethan's hands, every weapon became an instrument of slaughter. Every shot killed and not a single bullet was wasted. After leaving the military base, Ethan slaughtered at least 20 people. With the shrinking of the safe zone, Ethan changed his route. Whether it's a red dot sniper on a hillside thousands of miles away or a jumping car and a face-to-face gun in the residential area, it's executed with flawless smoothness. At the end, when only one opponent remained, he threw the gun and killed him with a frying pan. Soon, the illegal Braindance experience of Desperate Island is over. Another strong light flashed in front of Ethan's eyes. He woke up from the sleep state and then saw Judy staring straight at him. Judy was so close, Ethan could even smell the fragrance on her body. What's wrong? Did the final opponent survive? Ethan asked. I can't believe it. Judy took a few steps back and put some distance between them. You really haven't had a cybernetic transplant, otherwise I would have thought it was you were a combat robot rather than a real person. V, you are so awesome. Jackie Wells laughed and said, we were really enjoying watching it outside. My gaming experience is also good, thank you. Ethan got up and was about to leave with Jackie Wells. Wait a minute, Judy said. Judy, I'm not asking for credit, so I'll go to the front desk to check out. Jackie Wells laughed. I'm not saying this, I'm telling you to wait. Judy looked at Ethan and said, V, are you interested in leaving me a call? Ethan wondered whether he had heard correctly. In the original plot, Judy is cool and beautiful, but the problem is that she is a L*****N and was not a romance option for a male. V, the communication with men is very cold, and now she was asking for his number. Judy, didn't I hear it wrong? Jackie Wells froze and said, we've known each other for so long and I don't have your number. V is just here for the first time. Stop your wild imagination anyway, you are here to watch pornography and I want his contact information for other purposes. Judy said. When Judy asked for a phone number, there was no precedent for this man in the entire Night City, and Ethan, who was the first, would naturally not refuse. This is my number. Ethan sent her his contact information. Talk back. After Judy took over, she turned around and turned her attention back to the workbench. V, you've taken a big step towards being a legend. No one in Night City has ever had Judy take the initiative to ask for contact information. After leaving the Lizzie's bar, Jackie Wells' mouth never stopped. Jack, let's talk about business. What work can I do? Ethan asked. Ethan is now penniless. If he doesn't find some errands to do, he can only starve at home. You're asking the right person. Jackie Wells said, as for mercenary work, because we intercepted the goods from the Arasaka, we need to lay low for a while, but there are still plenty of ways to make money in Night City. You could enter boxing matches. Jackie Wells shot a few jabs into the air and then made a gesture of turning the steering wheel. And or race motorcycles in the Badlands, you should be comfortable with that. Then let's race a motorcycle. Ethan said with the skills he has now, it is the safest to go racing. There's just going to be a race with a good prize pool these days. I know the details, leave it to me. Jackie Wells patted his chest and said, okay, let's go play. After returning to the residence, Ethan couldn't sleep. How could he enter to a motorcycle race without a motorcycle? Thinking of this, Ethan sat up from the bed. To get a motorcycle, he would either have to buy one or steal one. Ethan doesn't even have the money for bread now, buying one was impossible, and stealing one carried obvious risks. He is now immersed in the world of 2077, and he is still in the novice stage at the beginning. Without a strong cyberware and weapons, he could not survive a firefight with the police. Sign-in refresh, do you sign in? While Ethan was worrying, the sign-in was refreshed. Sign in successful, the host has obtained the perfect camouflage. The system voice rang, and the perfect camouflage was merged into the mind. This camouflage ability passively adjusted his biology, and it can even adjust Ethan's biological characteristics and body temperature to a minimum, allowing him to evade even thermal imaging. A gleam of light flashed in Ethan's eyes. It was exactly what he needed. Kusanagi CT3X, it's up to you. Yeba Kusanagi CT3X, one of the finest motorcycles of 2077, it was manufactured by Arasaka Corporation in partnership with several top suppliers. It was blazingly fast, sleek, aerodynamic, and powered by a formidable engine. In a perfect state, the driver should decorate the prosthesis to improve the reaction ability, otherwise the speed may be too fast and may die directly on the road. The bike was also extremely expensive and highly coveted by gangs, especially the Tiger Claws. Ethan quickly cleaned himself up, left without waking Jack, and rode out of Watson alone. In Night City, various forces are intricate, and companies and groups are the ceiling to control everything. At street level, 7 major gangs divided the city into their own territories. The Yeba Kusanagi CT3X that Ethan wants is located in the Japantown area, leading to the central hub of Night City in Watson. Japantown includes Kabukicho, Little Chinatown, and other areas. It is a good place to have fun in Night City, and it is also the site of the Tiger Claws. Half an hour later, Ethan officially entered the Japantown area. There was no need to search for a Tiger Claw stronghold. In Night City, gunfire and fighting always led to gangs. Ethan drove around for a few laps when he came across a loud gunshot at the intersection ahead. The Tiger Claws was fighting with another group of people. After moving the car back a little and setting the autopilot to go home, Ethan quietly got out of the car. With the perfect camouflage skill activated, Ethan walked on the street with neon lights, completely blending in with the surrounding scenery. The battle ahead was fierce, with both sides exchanging heavy fire over the block. The Tiger Claws is on the left, as most of the Tiger Claws members are dressed as samurai, with their samurai heads, kinetic katana, and glowing tattoos being their hallmarks. Amid the hail of bullets, neither side noticed a third party slipping onto the battlefield. Ethan quietly slipped in behind the Tiger Claws. If there was a high-explosive grenade at this time, he could kill all the people in front of him at one time. However, Ethan came to steal the car, and soon he saw a Pheasant Blade CT3X parked in the corner, with 2 spare kinetic energy samurai knives hanging on the car. In addition, there are also some stumps and broken arms on the ground. It is very common for gangs to melee the dead. When Ethan passed by, he saw a lot of corpses, and the optical cybernetic eyes or some materials on them were still intact. His old nomad scavenging instincts immediately stirred, and Ethan immediately put them away. Even if he didn't transplant it, he could sell it for money. After collecting everything worth taking, Ethan rode on the Yeba Kusanagi CT3X and twisted the throttle and sped away. The roaring sound was completely suppressed by the gunshots. Riding a bicycle, Ethan did not go directly back to Watson, but found an overpass at the fastest speed. In the dark bridge hole, Ethan was relieved after disassembling the GPS positioning and biometric identification on the motorcycle. So far, this motorcycle is his. The rest of the night passed quietly. The next day, Ethan was playing with some spare parts of the weapons in his own weapon room. With his current technology, as long as he has enough firearm materials, he can assemble a powerful weapon. Here is the advantage of perfect weapon proficiency. Caller alert, Jack Wells. Hello, Jack. Ethan stopped what he was doing. Good afternoon, V. I found a lead on that motorcycle race we discussed yesterday. Do you want to go and play in the Badlands? Jack Wells' voice sounded. Okay, see you downstairs in 20 minutes. In the underground garage, when Ethan came down, he saw Jack Wells sitting on a black heavy motorcycle. Perhaps only such a big guy can bear the large size of Jack Wells. V. Jack Wells waved his hand and looked at Ethan and suddenly thought of something. Damn, I completely forgot. I didn't expect you to have no motorcycle. Ethan, a nomad who works alone and doesn't want commissions, doesn't have a single Eddie to his name, right? Who said I didn't? As Ethan said that, he pressed the boot chip of the Yaba Kusanagi CT3X. Boom boom boom. The engine roared and a red motorcycle slowly drove out of the dark parking space. When Jack Wells saw it clearly, he was immediately dumbfounded. F***K. Grass Yaba Kusanagi CT3X. V, how did you get it? Secret. Ethan smiled mysteriously, got on the motorcycle and inserted the starter chip. Damn it. Jack Wells exclaimed again. I heard that the Japan Tiger Claws fought with people yesterday, but after the fight, the leader of the Yaba Kusanagi CT3X disappeared, and even those killed by the Tiger Claws. The optical cybernetic eyes and materials on the human body are also gone. V, you did it. Keep your voice down, Ethan said lightly. Ha ha ha, Ethan, you nomads really are something else. Stop talking nonsense, let's go. Ethan said and drove out of the underground garage. After Ethan and Jack Wells left Watson, they went straight to the edge of Night City. The two motorcycles ran wildly on the road, their engines roared, and they shuttled through the traffic like arrows from the strings. Soon, the two left the city of Night City and came to the Badlands. Locomotive racing is also called wasteland racing. Drive a motorcycle or off-road vehicle to experience the purest speed and passion in the Badlands. This kind of show can only be experienced in Badlands. Rover drivers who pursue speed and passion often make an agreement to go to a tribe and then come to the next show. There is no threshold, just pay to sign up and winner takes all the bonuses. Jack Wells, a know-it-all in Night City, can naturally find where there is a match. Ethan and Jack left Night City and drove south for another 2 hours. When the sun was about to set, they came to the location of the motorcycle race. The deafening sound of refilling and the roar of the motorcycle throbbing the accelerator could be heard from far away. V, do you feel it? Jack Wells closed his eyes and opened his arms. Now this is freedom. Freedom, my ass, hurry up and sign up. Ethan urged. A new round of competition is about to start again. There are 10 places in total. There are still 2 places left. The race is full. Are there any warriors who want to come and play? The voice of the nomad host who presides over the motorcycle race blares from the inferior loudspeaker. I come. Jack Wells rudely squeezed out of the crowd, went straight to the host and said, how much is the registration fee? One person €10,000. The crowd runs away and winner takes all the money, the host explained. Homeless people have been pursuing freedom all their lives. To hold such competitions, they don't even charge fees and they don't know what to expect. Jack Wells took out €20,000 of cash directly from the bag and put it on the table. We have 2 people. The nomad only accepted cash. And after confirming that it was genuine, the host put the money in the box and said, remove the roadblock and let the 2 warriors enter the arena. The barricade was removed, and as soon as Ethan and Jack Wells entered, they were met by countless heated stares, and most of those eyes were fixed on Ethan. The reason, of course, is the Yaba Kusanagi CT3X under Ethan's crotch. V, it seems that you are very popular. Jack Wells next to him joked. They're interested in my car. Ethan said in a low voice, Jack, there are no real rules in a nomad motorcycle race. Attacks are allowed and no one cares if somebody dies on the road. Keep your guard up. Jack Wells nodded and said, these people had better not mess with me or they'll regret it. As a former mercenary, there is no need to worry about Jack's strength. Ethan turned to look at the other motorcycles in this match. When those guys looked at Ethan's Yaba Kusanagi CT3X, they wanted to kill Ethan and take it for themselves. When Ethan looked at these people, he saw an unexpected person unexpectedly. Panam Palmer. Ethan frowned. Fundamentally, Panam Palmer should not have appeared at this point in the timeline. Because the main line of the 2077 game only started half a year later. Is it because of the crossing that subtly changed something? Are games more than just games? I'm afraid that's the only way to explain it. All 10 riders are in position. The 10-second countdown to the race. The inferior speaker made a countdown sound, which also pulled Ethan out of his thoughts. 10 motorcycles have already started the motorcycle, and the roar of the exhaust pipe of the motorcycle has ignited the flames in everyone's heart. Everyone is waiting for the last second. Boom, a burst of shotgun bullets hit the sky, signaling the start. Almost at the same time, all 10 riders twisted their throttles. Boom, boom, boom. The motorcycle roared and rushed out, and disappeared 10 meters away in the blink of an eye. Just starting, Ethan shot into the lid with the superior performance of the Grass Yaba Kusanagi CT3X. But the others were no amateurs, and there are not many nomads who can afford motorcycle racing. Affordable wanderers all knew how to modify their machines, so some motorcycles don't look great on the outside, but the core is very fierce. Gradually, some motorcycles began to slowly catch up with Ethan's speed. On Ethan's left is a rider with a bright mohawk. After the mohawk rider matched Ethan's speed, he pulled out the chain on the spot and leaned over with malicious intent. Motorcycle racing, all consequences are at your own risk. Any mistake at super high speed could lead to a car crash. Obviously, Rooster Head wanted to make a mistake for Ethan. Even the CT3X of the Baron board is a top material component, still too eye-catching. The mohawked rider held the chain with one hand and circled in the air. As long as he got close to the right distance, he would not hesitate to shoot Ethan down. The world of 2077 is so absurd. If you participate in a motorcycle race, you will be targeted because the motorcycle is too good. The reason why they do it is simply because they like your motorcycle and then they want to grab it. As for personal life, who cares? The mohawk rider is getting closer and closer, and a vicious grin spread across his face. Suddenly, the mohawk rider swung towards Ethan with the chain. Ethan released his hand holding the accelerator and the high-speed motorcycle paused. Because of this operation, the chain was directly swept away. Rooster Head was surprised by Ethan's reaction and immediately swung at Ethan a second time. It's a pity that Ethan won't give him a second chance. The Yaba Kusanagi CT3X leaned towards the C***K's head. Ethan got up slightly and kicked the C***K's head directly in the face. The head of the rooster was originally driven with one hand, and half of the body was slightly warped. Being kicked in the face by Ethan, the center of gravity was completely lost, and he was thrown from the motorcycle. Getting off the car at super high speed, he would either die or be permanently crippled. The motorcycle that lost its rider hit a roadside rock and became a pile of scrap metal. After smashing a motorcycle, Ethan sat down again. "You were still drinking milk when I learned to ride." Ethan took a look at the rearview mirror of the motorcycle and found that Jack Wells behind him didn't seem very good. Those riders had targeted both Ethan and Jack Wells. Jack Wells was driving a heavy motorcycle. He didn't go first, he just came over to run and play. It's a pity that those disgusting nomads also seem to have taken a fancy to the parts of heavy motorcycles. Grass. Jack Wells couldn't bear the disturbance and burst into foul language. "You bastards have the guts to stop and fight me." The two motorcyclists side by side with Jack Wells came and bumped Jack from time to time. Heavy-duty motorcycles are very stable and there is no chance of being knocked over. But if you touch it suddenly, the heavy motorcycle will still sway from side to side. At super high speed, a small stone can cause a rollover. Especially in the road section with many obstacles on the Badlands, if you are not careful, you will end up with a car on a dilapidated house. This is intentional murder. Jack Wells has never suffered such humiliation for so many years. Dog chops. Jack Wells angrily rammed towards the guy on the right, which was exactly what they wanted. The motorcyclist on the left took out a flickering combat knife from his arms and leaned towards Jack. While Jack was wrestling with the motorcyclist on the right, the motorcyclist on the left raised his combat knife and was about to stab Jack Wells back. Boom, 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 in the nick of time. An angry motorcycle roar sounded, and Ethan turned around from the front and came back with maximum horsepower. In the blink of an eye, Ethan, who was driving the maximum horsepower of the Grass Pheasant Blade CT3X, came to the motorcyclist holding a combat knife. Looking at Ethan, who suddenly turned back from the front, the cyclist was stunned. The next second, the thorn on the motorcycle driver's hand was snatched by Ethan and then slapped back into the motorcycle driver's neck. The neck penetrated directly, and a lot of blood spurted out. Before he fell off the motorcycle, the guy died. It all happened in a flash. From Ethan rushed over to grab the army and stabbed and killed all within 1 second. Jack Wells heard the movement behind him, and when he looked back, he saw this scene, and he instantly understood what had happened. If Ethan hadn't arrived at the last minute, this combat knife would have pierced himself. The angry Jack didn't hold back and slammed into the guy on the right at full speed. A motorcycle with a failed plan can't outrun an angry heavy motorcycle, as long as it is gradually cornered and then hits a tree. After a while, Ethan copped it back from behind and said, "Jack, are you all right?" "I owe you one," Jack Wells said very seriously. "Don't talk too much, let's run together, anyone who comes near us is going down." Ethan said viciously. He is really angry. How could Tai Han Jack die here? Not long after the start, 3 of the 10 motorcycles were already out of the race. Perhaps it was because the scene where Ethan turned around to kill was so shocking that the other drivers did not dare to get too close in the second half of the race. By the final stretch, Panam won the first place. Ethan and Jack Wells passed the second and third. According to the rules of the game, the first place took all the money. What a loss, it's all to blame for those bastards. Jack Wells cursed in a mixture of foreign languages. You son of a b asterisk asterisk ch is really not a thing. V you can obviously win, and if you win you will be 100,000 euro dollars. Soup. Jack, calm down. Ethan comforted. I'm not reconciled. Jack Wells tickles his teeth with hatred. We had the prize in our hands and it still slipped away. Okay, there is still a lot of money waiting for you to earn, let's go. Ethan got on the CT3X and greeted. Alas, Jack Wells sighed and could only give up. Just as the two were about to leave, Panam, the champion of the motorcycle race, took off his helmet and said from a distance, "The two over there, wait a minute." Ethan looked back on the Yaba Kusanagi CT3X and saw Panam taking off his helmet. In all fairness, Panam was a striking woman. The upper body is wearing a motorcycle leather vest and the lower body is tooling jeans. The inner lining is naturally avant-garde and bold yellow-green top, and the healthy wheat-colored skin on the looming waist is even more tempting. Now that's a hot woman. Jack Wells straightened his waist and straightened his collar, trying to make himself look more energetic. Beauty, stop us, do you want to have a drink with me? Panam skipped Jack Wells' invitation but stared straight at Ethan and said, "The game just now was not an official game. The methods of those guys are really dirty. They should win under normal circumstances. It's you. I used to be a wanderer. I understand the rules of motorcycle racing and I respect the results," Ethan said. Panam raised his brows, then nodded the bag containing 100,000 euro dollars and threw it directly at Ethan. "I don't want a victory like this, you take the money." Everyone was stunned by Panam's operation, which was 100,000 euro dollars, not 100,000 blank sheets of paper. Most people entered the race for the prize money, and if you have money, you can live in Night City. Thinking of Panam winning the championship, he just threw his money away. They were envious, but they were also afraid. Thinking back to Ethan's actions when he was just racing, the other onlookers could only watch. The money bag drew a parabola and fell directly into Ethan's hands. "Your riding isn't bad. It's all thanks to the Grass Pheasant CT3X. It is also a talent to drive this car to this point without installing a response module." Ethan and Panam chatted like old friends they hadn't seen in a long time. After a while, some smiles appeared on Panam's face. "I hope to have the opportunity to run with you again in the future." "There is a chance," Ethan said. When the words fell, Panam put on his helmet and drove away from the scene. Ethan also greeted after packing the money, "Jack, go back." On the way back to Night City, Jack Wells was completely sour. "Jack, I'm sure that girl is interested in you." "Ethan, how many times have you said since the tribe came out are you a broken record?" "Jack, I can't figure it out. A guy like me feels more secure, right? Even if you look at your face, you're better than me." "Ethan, it seems that you also know the gap between our appearances." "Jack, stop talking about that. Let's sit down at Lizzie later, celebrate." Ethan refused. "I want to go home and sleep." After returning to Watson, Jack Wells said that he had a place to stay, while Ethan returned to his residence alone. After taking a cold shower, Ethan lay back on the bed, said to come back to sleep, but Ethan was completely sleepy. He also had an idea about the encounter with Panam. In terms of timeline, the rescue mission in Japan on half a year later is the beginning of the 2077 game plot. And this half year has been skipped blank in the game. Ethan thought there would be some unexpected development, but unexpectedly changed. The appearance of Panam means that the plot of the game is likely to be advanced or changed. Then the advantage of Ethan's customs clearance experience will be reduced, but it will be more challenging. After a night of silence, Ethan naturally slept until he woke up the next day. After he opened his eyes, the smart home detected the signs of biological awakening from the owner of the room and went to work. The current indoor temperature is adjusted to a constant temperature of 25 degrees. The current weather conditions are good to automatically open the curtains. Hot water is ready and ready to use. The monitor is turned on and 56 financial channels are automatically played for you. After living for a few days, Ethan also experienced this smart home firsthand, and there is no problem in using it. The only downside is that it will destroy people's hands-on ability, and it seems like a pig in captivity in the room. It seems that I still have to find Jack to change the house. Ethan said after the novelty receded, he still felt that it was better to be less intelligent. Thinking of this, Ethan took the initiative to call Jack Wells. V, what a coincidence, I was just about to call you. Jack Wells' voice on the phone rang together with the noise on the street. Then you say it first. Ethan said, didn't you have €100,000 for the motorcycle race yesterday? We can do something else. Jack Wells said. Only then did Ethan remember that when he split the money yesterday, Jack Wells didn't want to live or die. Well, what shall we do? Now that you've got money, it's time for an upgrade. Jack Wells said, a completely organic body won't last long in Night City. As soon as he heard this, Ethan understood. Jack Wells is going to take himself to see the Ripper Doc Victor. Okay, see you downstairs. After meeting in the underground garage, Ethan and Jack Wells bumped shoulders in greeting. Don't drive your heavy motorcycle today. In Night City, there are traffic surveillance cameras everywhere. If the corporate dog is staring at the speeding, the trouble won't be worth it. Jack Wells said, then what, did you bring the money? Ethan raised the chip that contained the money. In Night City, there are banks everywhere. Whether it is transferring cash into the money chip or taking the money out of the chip, as long as the corresponding handling fee is handed in, they will be happy to help. Jack Wells was still driving, and Ethan was sitting in the passenger seat. If it is a landmark in Night City, you can also search and locate it automatically, but the skilled people Jack knew are in the most secret places. Here, the Ripper Doc will meet Victor and Misty. Victor is a doctor who is good at changing various prosthetic modules, and Misty is Victor's landlord and the girlfriend of Tai Han-hin Jack Wells. In the game plot, after Jack's death, Misty was depressed for a while. V, what are you looking at? Said Jack Wells. It's nothing, Ethan turned around and said with a serious face, the upgrade you said was cyberware implantation, right? V, as expected of you. Jack Wells is no longer a secret. I know the best Ripper Doc in the entire Night City, whether it is installing an improved prosthesis or replacing parts, or it is caused by damage to the prosthesis. Neurological disease, he can handle it. Ethan smiled and did not speak. This Tai Han-hin really had nothing to say to his friends. In his mouth, everyone was the best in every field. By the way, you took the initiative to call me just now, what's the matter? Jack Wells asked after returning to his senses. Well, Jack, I want to live in another place. Ethan said. Why, is it uncomfortable to live in, or is that stupid landlord urging you grass? I said hello to him and said that it was my brother and he didn't miss his money. When I look back, I will slap the money in his face. Jack Wells said indignantly, don't be so irritable, it's nothing like that. Ethan said with tears in his eyes, I wanted to change places myself, so I just wanted to ask you if there was a way. If you open your mouth, you must. Even if you want to live in the head of the Arasaka Corporation, I will find a way for you, Jack Wells said with a smile. Normal chat, the house I want is the kind of primitive, without any smart home, just keep the water and electricity. Ethan stated his needs. What? Jack Wells suspected that he had heard it wrong. No, V, I thought you wanted a better section. Why do you want a place like this? Ethan didn't speak. Jack Wells understood in seconds. Cough, secret, I understand. Don't worry, I'll find it out for you when I look back. The two chatted while driving and soon arrived at the place. Like Lizzie's bar, Victor's facade is still in the alleys and alleys of the maze of twisting alleys. If it wasn't for an acquaintance, I wouldn't be able to find it. After parking the car, Jack Wells couldn't wait to rush to the front desk. Oh, Misty, you are more beautiful than yesterday. Save the sweet talk, Jack, you didn't come at all yesterday. Misty looked up and saw Ethan walking in from the door. Introduction. Jack Wells pulled Ethan to the side and said, this is my good brother V, he can also be called Ethan. The Chinese name is too hard for a foreigner like Jack Wells, so when talking to Ethan, Jack Wells is called V, but when meeting new people. In particular, Jack Wells introduced the two parties as an intermediary. Even if he was stubborn, Jack Wells would insist on reciting Ethan's Chinese name. You call a lot of people your brothers, but almost none of them can be brought here. Misty looked at Ethan and said, welcome, V. Hello, Misty. Ethan also responded. V, Misty and I are talking about something here. You can go in by yourself. The first room on the left is the one. Jack Wells winked at him repeatedly. Ethan didn't pierce it and walked straight inside. In the first room on the left, even the door is open, and from the outside you can see Victor in front of the workbench. Victor sat in the chair, staring at the boxing match being played on the screen and said without looking back, guests please come in. Ethan walked in. There are the last 3 minutes, wait a second. Victor said, okay. Ethan stood behind him and watched the last 3 minutes of the boxing match together. After the boxing match was over, Victor looked at Ethan. You are V, Jack told me you would come. He's at the front desk, Ethan said. Victor just smiled and then stretched out his hand. I'm Victor Vector, since Jack brought you here, let's get straight to the point. Prosthesis upgrade, neural treatment, which one do you need? Victor is undoubtedly a very top ripperdoc, although his place is not as luxurious as the company, but his prosthetic clinic is practical. It will not be pressure customers like a corporate clinic, and people will buy cyberware parts in various sets, and there will be no extra fees. If the person is right, Victor will give him a glass of wine or anesthesia before the knife. You haven't undergone cyberware modification, Victor asked in surprise. It was only when he got closer that he found that there was no metal wire left over from the cyberware implantation on Ethan. As an insider, Victor naturally could see the fourth-generation prosthetic technology, and he was sure that Ethan was pure natural. What's wrong? Ethan said in a low voice. He started out as a wanderer, except for the brain-end interface on the back of his head, which is necessary for the 2077 world. He has not undergone any modification. It's nothing, just curious. Victor said Jack Wells used to be a legend in Haywood, and he was very good in the Valentino gang. Even if he was a mercenary for a while, he was very good. But even if it's Haywood, the Valentino gang, or mercenaries, Jack rarely brings me here among these friends. The fact that he can bring you here is enough to prove that you are really strong, but what I didn't expect is that you haven't been transformed by a cyberware. In 2077, the cyberware implantation has been pushed to the fourth generation. From the top of the Arasaka Corporation down to a wild dog on the roadside, there are traces of cyberware modification. For ordinary people, prosthetics can make people with disabilities stand up. For those who are insane, prosthetics can be powerful murder weapons. For seniors, prosthetics are even a necessity to prolong life. It can be said that cyberware modification is one of the symbols of the entire Night City. It is surprising that people who can be identified by Jack Wells have not undergone any cyberware modification. Ethan said, "Before I came to Night City, I was a wanderer. The wanderer was begging for a living on the ruins and garbage heaps of the Badlands. If you ask me where there is garbage and where is the oil depot, I may be able to answer it, but if Yeedy is the one, there's really nothing you can do." 2077 3 Careers, Company Street Kid Nomad. It is the most difficult for the nomad to access prosthetics or various cutting-edge technologies, but they are relatively free. It's not bad for a nomad who pursues freedom. Victor smiled and said, "Okay, this is the end of the chat. Since you haven't experienced cyberware implantation, where do you want to do this time? Plug in an optical cybernetic eye or add an arm. The optical cybernetic eye can scan the detailed data of various items. Advanced goods can also be equipped with a perspective module. As for the arm, it can not only improve the fighting ability, but also hold more powerful firearms. After the module is installed, it can also display bullet loss and kinetic dynamics. It can be said that these two parts are the parts that most people will choose first." Ethan pondered for a while and then said, "Jack, you should have a lot of accounts, right?" Victor said while debugging the equipment, "This is between me and Jack, you don't need to worry about it. Let's get down to business. Where to do? Don't be busy, I don't want any implants." Ethan waved his hand. Victor stopped arranging the equipment and then returned to Ethan's side. I'm a ripperdoc. Coming here just to waste my time isn't wise." From Victor's tone, it sounded that he was a little displeased. Victor was also one of the legends of the Night City when he was young. He was an old-school street tough guy, and he was a man of principles, with the honor and principles he carried from his days in the ring. If Ethan was not brought by Jack Wells when he said this, Victor would not hesitate to send the guest off and blacklist them. "Victor, listen to me." Ethan explained, I want to repay the debt Jack owes you and put the rest of the money with you. When he comes to you in the future, you quietly replace him with the best parts." Ethan had already thought about it before coming here. With the help of his own system, he can reach the top even without cyberware implantation, but Jack Wells is different. He is not a rich man, and even some aging. In the later critical mission, he didn't stay behind. Then the best way to keep Jack Wells is to stop Jack's behavior at a critical moment, which has already been done with commission coercion when entering Night City. Then the second step is the easiest. Equip Jack with the best and top prosthetics. After listening to Ethan, Victor was silent for a while, then opened the refrigerator door and took a bottle of red wine and 2 glasses. After pouring the wine into the glass and handing it to Ethan, Victor smiled. "I seem to know why Jack Wells brought you here. Is this the romance of the Wanderer?" Victor raised his glass. "Shit romance, I just don't want this guy to die." Ethan raised his glass and touched Victor. After a glass of wine, the small misunderstanding before was gone, and Victor also looked at Ethan with admiration. "Before finalizing the payment, may I ask why you're doing this?" Victor put down his glass. This was the first time he asked a guest about privacy. Ethan turned to look at the electronic screen on the workbench, which was a recording of a boxing match. Victor is a nostalgic person. In addition to prosthetic boxing, he thought he was watching some unarmed boxing matches that were not up to date with the times. Victor, do you think the fighters in the ring are rivals or friends? Victor didn't expect Ethan to raise such a philosophical question. He just thought for a while and said, maybe both, who knows? Then just treat me like that with him. Interesting. Victor didn't worry too much. He directly calculated with the tablet and then passed the bill to Ethan. Friend request. Vector. Ethan passed Victor's friend request and also saw the transmitted bill. Jack Wells owes not much or not exactly €50,000. Ethan took out the money chip and put it on the table. There are €100,000 in it, and the remaining €50,000 are here. In addition, I will send money from time to time. You only need to give it to Jack every time he looks for you. His best parts will do. Also, please keep it a secret. After speaking, Ethan turned around and walked to the door. V, I remember you. You can come and sit with me if you are free or not feeling well. Victor has already expressed his attitude. Thank you. Leaving Victor's shop, Jack Wells was still flirting at the front desk. Seeing Ethan come out, Jack Wells let go of Misty's hand like a lightning bolt and said with a blushing face, V, are you done? I said it earlier, I told you not to do anything. Misty withdrew his hand and complained about Jack. The two of them are not too young and they are like children when they are in love. I didn't expect V's side to end so quickly. Jack Wells explained with a straight smile. Faced with the behavior of the two of them invisibly throwing dog food, Ethan only had an embarrassed and impolite smile. It seems that I came out at an untimely time, so I didn't see anything. You two should carry on. V, let's go together. Jack Wells also slipped over from the front desk and didn't forget to say goodbye to Misty. Misty, let's go first. After coming out of Victor's clinic, Jack Wells suggested to go somewhere else together, but Ethan declined. Helpless, Jack Wells could only send Ethan back to the door of the apartment first. V, if you lend me your car, you won't have any scratches. Jack Wells patted his chest and said, in addition, I will ask you about the house you want to change. Go away? Ethan scolded with a smile, then went upstairs. Jack Wells has a lot of friends in Night City, and the premise of all this is that even if he is not working, Jack needs to rush around like a clown in a show to connect with feelings. After all, that's the only way to get a job that pays well. As far as Ethan is concerned, except for some NPCs in the game plot, he has no need to know others for the time being. Of course, the main reason is that there is no money. The €100,000 donated by Panam has already settled the debt of Lao Wei for Jack. Now that Ethan is poor again, he has to make money. After returning home, Ethan went straight to bed and fell asleep. This sleep, Ethan slept through the night. Night is what Night City is all about. Wake up in bed with Ethan on time. The display screen in the living room also lights up synchronously and starts broadcasting the news. This is the Night City News channel, and the urgent news is broadcast for you below. Recently, there have been more and more street violent incidents in Night City, and violent crimes have occurred frequently in various regions. At present, the Armed Security Bureau has been involved in the violent incidents, and every night will strengthen the security at the transportation hubs in various regions. In Japantown, the friction between the Tiger Claws and the regional gangs has escalated, which has affected the normal life of residents in the area. According to the city management regulations of Night City, listening to the news broadcast, Ethan came to the weapons room. The area of the weapon room is fairly spacious, and what attracts the eye is the workbench embedded in the wall and the dark wall decorated with special materials. On the wall are raised dense black squares that are responsible for absolute sound insulation. There are also slots for various weapons and guns. Of course, tools for repairing and assembling are also indispensable. Ethan glanced at it briefly. The previous owner left a complete set of maintenance tools and some entry-level firearm components in the weapon room. Holding the firearm components, Ethan quickly assembled a pistol for self-defense. The weapons in 2077 are roughly divided into prosthetics, melee weapons, smart weapons, kinetic weapons, technical weapons, grenades, plugins, accessories, etc. All weapon assembly and disassembly need to follow the electronic drawings, but Ethan has a perfect weapon proficiency function, which is naturally familiar. After coming out of the weapon room, Ethan turned off the smart home and was about to go out when the phone communication rang. Caller ID Judy Alvarez. Judy, although he wondered why Judy contacted him, Ethan still answered the phone. V, are you free? The phone was connected and Judy on the other end said straight to the point. You're at home now, you have something to say. Ethan decisively gave up the idea of going out to scavenge. If you're free, come over to Lizzie's bar. I'm looking for you in the underground studio. Okay, I'll be there soon. Although it was only with Jack Wells once, Ethan had already remembered the route to Lizzie's bar. After a while, Ethan rode the Yaba Kusanagi CT3X and came to Lizzie's bar, which was still so extravagant. Perhaps because of Judy's greeting, Ethan was able to enter the bar without Jack Wells' leadership and came to the basement floor. In the underground studio, Judy said without looking back at the workbench, "V, you can sit down and wait for me." Ethan found a place to sit down. The place was still empty. Only a lamp above his head and some computer equipment, the Braindance Experience instrument, radiated light, which was no different from a few days ago. 3 minutes later, Judy finished the work at hand, turned around and said a little apologetically, "V, I'm obviously looking for you, but I still asked you to wait for me, sorry. It doesn't matter." Ethan said, "It must be very urgent that you come to me at this time." Judy nodded and said, "I came to you in fact to talk to you about the Braindance that day. Talk about Braindance." Ethan was stunned and then said, "Judy, did I hear it wrong or are you joking again?" He, who had only experienced Braindance once, went to talk about this topic with the top Braindance editor in Night City, which was infinitely close to someone who had only heard the sound of gunshots teaching a gunman how to shoot. "I'm never joking." Judy whispered, "Desperate Island is a special black Braindance, except for me and you are the only ones who have experienced it, so I need to talk to you about some issues. That's why I kept your number." Ethan nodded. He was not narcissistic enough to think that Judy would fall in love with him at first sight and then directly change his sexual orientation. "Well, let's talk about it. Before talking about this topic, you should know the concept of Braindance, right?" Judy said. "Ethan, I have heard of it." Judy, as the only person who has experienced Desperate Island, you should know that Desperate Island is different from all other Braindances. Ethan was a little stunned and he felt it when he experienced it a few days ago. In the 2077 game setting, Braindance is like an alternative life experience. In the Braindance movie, the experiencer can feel all the emotions, all the emotional changes, and all the physical pain of the protagonist of the Braindance. The only thing that cannot be changed is the change. The plot of the Braindance has been set. The experiencer can only experience the immersive experience once, but it cannot be changed. But the Desperate Island, Ethan directly killed all the chickens a few days ago. This is the change. Completely contradicts all the theories of Braindance. Ethan looked at Judy's delicate face and became more and more convinced. His own crossing really triggered the butterfly effect, whether it was encountering Panam in a motorcycle race or Judy's alternative Braindance. "It's different from what I imagined." Ethan said, "I've heard that Braindance is just to experience other people's lives, but it seems that Desperado Island can be controlled. It's more like a Braindance game than a Braindance movie. The setting of Braindance is too big. As a layman, Ethan can't speak professional words." Listening to Ethan's answer, Judy's beautiful eyes lit up. "V, you're right, it's Braindance." Judy adjusted her sitting posture and raised Erlang's legs. "Desperate Island is a brand new attempt of mine. To make Braindance, in addition to editing editors, you also need a steady stream of material. From some technical aspects, it is not possible to restore the most realistic Braindance movie based on a script. Therefore, all Braindance movies on the market are the material used in the film is real. That is to say, the Superdream star needs to experience it personally as material and then hand it over to the editor, and finally it is what the public experiences. The P***N is real, the robbery is real, and the murder is real." When he said this, Judy frowned obviously. The Braindance was normal at the beginning, but then it went wrong. For example, in some places there was the kind of Braindance that slaughtered the village. When it became the material, the Braindance star really killed the whole village. Those who blasted were also Braindance stars who blasted a building, and no one cares about the loss behind it. Even some too vicious P***N, this is the case. Ethan probably understood what Judy meant. Braindance is the most respected entertainment measure in Night City. Everyone is fascinated by Braindance. Because of such demand, a morbid material supply chain has been born. Those who experience the Braindance are finished, but those who were hurt when they became material are forever forgotten. "So you made Desperate Island," Ethan said. "In Desperate Island, the experiencer can still feel the blood of the black Braindance and can kill wantonly inside. It's data. In this way, while keeping Braindance unchanged, we can also remove the sins left by the traditional production of Braindance." "Smart," Judy snapped her fingers and said, "That's it, but my ability is limited by myself and even Desperate Island is a bit immature, so I need someone to help me and that person is you." "I'm happy to help," Ethan said. "I'm waiting for your words." Judy laughed, smiling beautifully. Now the problems of Desperate Island are all concentrated in the second half, and I can only collect data to solve the problem after entering the second half. Question. But with my strength, I can't make it to that time. Judy said, so I have to ask you to take me to that time. The whole thing is simply 4 words, carry someone through a battle royale. It's not a big problem, should we start now? Ethan looked at the studio and it seemed that there was an additional operating bed. Right now, Judy said, it's okay now, but doesn't it require another person to debug it outside to enter the braindance? Ethan wondered. He and Judy both went in. Who will debug? Am I here? A female voice sounded, and I saw a woman with short blue hair wearing a purple fur-collared coat lined with a sexy wrap skirt, twisting her plump waist and walking down the stairs. Ethan turned his head and saw Evelyn Parker, who was smoking a lady's cigarette and walking over the catwalk. The current Ethan has not made all his judgments based on the game plot of 2077, so it is not surprising to see Evelyn Parker here. Who is this? Ethan still showed the feeling of meeting for the first time. Evelyn Parker. Evelyn Parker walked in front of Ethan. Her eyes were very aggressive. Ju's lips lightly opened and took a puff and spit the smoke on Ethan's face. I heard Judy mention you, Jack's friend. What's your name? Oh yes, V. Evelyn Parker chuckled. You are so handsome, I can't blame Judy for rejecting so many of my introductions. People. Evelyn, Judy said, indicating that Evelyn Parker was almost there. Okay, my Judy is angry. Evelyn Parker put away the feeling of aggression for a second, and she went to the computer equipment to start debugging. Evelyn is like this, don't mind, Judy whispered. Won't. Ethan still likes a mature woman like Evelyn Parker very much. Soon the values of the equipment entering braindance have been adjusted. When Ethan lay down on the operating bed, Evelyn Parker half-jokingly said, you must help Judy well. You don't have to worry about that. With a burst of bright light, Ethan and Judy entered braindance Desperate Island simultaneously. On the transport plane to the island, Ethan and Judy were hand in hand. Judy, in braindance, everything is arranged by me, understand? Ethan said. Okay, Judy said. It was still the route of the military base. When the cabin door opened, Ethan took Judy's first group to pick up the landing equipment and jumped. The next step is to kill the island. Outside, Evelyn Parker has been observing the scene of the two in braindance, lit a cigarette again and didn't notice it until the cigarette was exhausted. Evelyn Parker recited the name silently, as if she had discovered a very remarkable guy. 40 minutes later, Ethan took Judy to kill the entire island and the consciousness returned from the braindance. That's great, Judy said excitedly. Just now on the island, Judy, who was in a hail of bullets, wanted to shout. The adrenaline is soaring and the feeling of high is everyone's experience. As long as I can help you. Ethan said to him, it was the one-sided massacre anyway. Evelyn Parker called out, then threw a lady's cigarette over. Ethan took the cigarette and just wanted to say that he didn't like smoking, but Evelyn Parker's contact number was automatically recorded. Ethan. After taking the girl to eat chicken here, Ethan was about to show off. Judy turned her head from the workbench and said, I may have to trouble you a lot in the future. Can you come once every 3 or 2 days? I'm afraid not, Ethan said with some embarrassment. Why? Evelyn Parker asked. Ethan didn't feel embarrassed and said directly, 2 beauties, before I came to Night City I was a nomad. Jack, you all know that he is a person who watches P***N and pays on credit. I can't live with money. Helping girls and eating are the top priorities. Judy chuckled, I'm sorry money is not a problem. Evelyn Parker took out a chip from her chest and threw it towards Ethan. Ethan reached out to catch it, still warm. There is $20,000 in it as your reward. Evelyn Parker is indeed rich and the shot is $20,000. Ethan didn't hesitate, collected the money, thanked him on the road and left the Lizzie's bar. Ethan, who slept enough during the day, was naturally not sleepy and drove the Grass Yeba Kusanagi CT3X to stroll around the streets of Night City. Adhering to the fine tradition of the nomad, where there is a fight, there is Ethan. That's it, the gangs who exchanged fire were stunned and couldn't figure out where the cyberware components of the casualties went. The next day was a little more leisurely. Ethan slept during the day, went to scavenge at night, and from time to time he went to Lizzie's bar to carry Judy through Desperate Island. A week passed quickly. That night, Ethan sat on the bed. It seems that I haven't checked in for the past few days. Ethan smacked his lips. Recently, the check-in has been refreshed every day. He didn't manage it and then it has accumulated 8 times. The current host can choose daily check-in or cumulative check-in. The system has a new prompt. Ethan understood after a glance. The daily check-in is to directly check in the 8 rewards, and the cumulative check-in is to collect the 8 check-in times into one and then sign in. To put it bluntly, it is to draw cards. The former is to take the guarantee and the latter is to gamble on the dog. If you lose the bet 7 times, you will bet directly on the golden legend. Ethan chose the latter without thinking. System, I want to sign in cumulatively. Accumulated sign-in success. Get a God-level Iron Man armor. The system prompt sounded, and all the information about the Iron Man armor and the technical singularity were all brought into Ethan's knowledge base. Ethan was stunned for a few seconds, and then the corners of his mouth rose wildly. Sometimes gambling really did pay off. It's actually a legendary reward. Iron Man armor. Powered armor was every boy's dream, especially Tony Stark and Iron Man. After the excitement passed, Ethan quickly browsed the information about the Iron Man armor. The reason why this thing is called a prosthetic suit is because the Iron Man armor rewarded by the system is not a 100% iron battle suit of Marvel's original work, but there are some limitations and differences. Ethan said it was understandable, and then read it. The shape is not much different from the Mark 50, and the Adang method has also become a nanoparticle covering type, which is usually collected in a triangular pendant on the chest and can be covered by double-clicking. The heat resistance, cold resistance, and shock resistance are also directly full. Diving and high-altitude flight nanoparticle invasion are not a problem. Smart AI Friday can provide all of Ethan's questions and answers and fully automatic intelligent hacking. Those are the good parts, and then came the limitations. Almost all the weapon attack methods and special abilities of Mark 50 have not been preserved, and they are temporarily unable to fly in space. Ethan said that Mark 50's nanotechnology transformation, fighting ability and flying ability alone can make him dominate in Night City. Although it is not as lethal as the original, it fits the prosthetic setting of 2077. The arms, shoulder armor, and calves of the Iron Man armor can be transplanted. In other words, like those top prosthetic monomolecular wires in 2077, the Mantis knife and the Gorilla arm can be seamlessly connected to the Iron Man armor. Ethan can use 2077's prosthetic technology without surgery. Burning down the Night City, the goal of establishing a new order has taken a big step forward. After a night of silence, he still woke up naturally the next day. Caller ID Jack Wells. Jack, I thought you had passed out in some woman's bed. Ethan scolded him when he answered the phone, and he had heard nothing about Tai Hanhin for at least 3 days. V, I have Misty, so I won't mess around outside. Don't slander me casually or I'll sue you for slander. Jack Wells laughed awkwardly and then, brother, I have 2 pieces of good news you want. Which one do you want to hear first? Isn't this one good and one bad? Ethan said. It's not the same, I just brought you 2 good news. Jack Wells said he. Then tell me the first one. This first one is the house you asked me to ask you about. I found it. It is a rundown apartment building that has not been intelligently decorated. It is very remote and there is nothing valuable there. The company and NCPD are not interested in managing it. There are elderly, sick, and struggling residents out there. That's right, help me secure it. Ethan was overjoyed. After living in the apartment for almost half a month, he felt that his limbs were about to degenerate, and based on experience, how could the products produced by the Waste Board and other companies not have the function of collecting user data? Therefore, it is the best choice to completely cut off the smart home. The second good thing, Ethan said again, the second thing it's hard to say on the phone, come down, I'll be waiting for you at the snack street downstairs. Can. After a brief wash and a change of clothes, Ethan went downstairs and went straight to the snack street, and then saw Jack's big-waisted figure sitting in front of a stall eating Odin. V, have a bowl, Jack Wells said. You can eat it. Ethan is not interested in this kind of Odin that was killed in seconds compared to the Chinese skewers of the China. You taste really good, Jack Wells said while eating fish balls. Ethan, that's something you haven't eaten before. Jack V, you have Oriental cuisine in Little Chinatown. I've also been in and out of high-end places, right? Ethan, the Oriental cuisine in Chinatown can't even touch the fur. I'll get you an authentic meal some other day. Before eating it, I suggest you to upgrade your taste buds to prevent the delicious food from falling off. Jack Wells listened with joy, then look forward to Chef V. Don't force it. What's another good thing? Yes, let's get down to business. After eating the fish balls in 2 or 3, Jack Wells left the stall after paying the money. Isn't it true that I have not seen the end of the dragon these days? Actually, I didn't go to play, but it's a big job. Big job. Ethan raised his brows. Could it be that the rescue mission of the main storyline is about to start now? That's right, Wakako Okada is the one who issued the job. Jack Wells directly stretched out 2 hands, at least this number after the completion of the matter. Looks like you landed a good deal, Ethan joked. Yeah, anyway, this job is a big one. It's 100 times better than that lizard smuggling job. Jack Wells practically had a spring in his step. Good. Handle the details with the fixer and let me know when it's time to move. Ethan said, V, now that's what I like to hear. Jack Wells came to the street and called a car. In 2077, the traditional taxi industry had long since collapsed. Most vehicle owners linked their cars directly to their neural interface. In any corner of Night City, as long as there is a network signal, they can automatically drive to the owner's side. A week after Ethan's second-hand car was driven by Jack Wells, its exterior had been replaced with high-grade matte black bulletproof plating, which is almost the same as before in the Badlands. V, I'm going out to meet people. It's not good to take the subway. Jack Wells explained a little. In recent days, Ethan's car has been used by Jack as a means of transportation. Ethan waved his hand and didn't care. It's only a car, take it whenever you need it. Anyway, the Yaba Kusanagi CT3X is enough for normal travel. I've given you the exact location of that house, you can go and have a look first. The car stopped beside, Jack Wells patted Ethan and ran into the car. Ethan looked at the location information sent by Jack Wells. It was a place called Sunshine Apartments. It was in the absolute slum area of Watson. There were no smart home systems and almost no corporate presence. Zone. After choosing the location, Ethan rushed over on the Yaba Kusanagi CT3X even at the speed of CT3X. Ethan drove for half an hour before he found Sunshine Apartments. It is indeed too remote, as Jack said, and the remote does not even seem to be within the scope of Night City. There are also several residential houses near the Sunshine Apartments, and the overall shape is that of the community more than 70 years ago. Ethan stood at the entrance of the Sunshine Apartments, looking at the well-kept and clean houses that could have sold for millions in his previous life. Is it actually a slum? Perhaps this is the gap between the times and cognition, because it lacked smart home systems, and it is not included in the scope of the company, so only the poor were forced to live there. From Ethan's point of view, this place is much cleaner than the apartment he lived in before. The appearance of Ethan naturally attracted the attention of many people, and their eyes were dodging, especially when they looked at the Yaba Kusanagi CT3X produced by the Arasaka Corporation next to Ethan. The poor are the undisputed bottom of the entire Night City. The people here are basically elderly, small children, and those who are disabled residents who could not afford cyberware. Young people either sell their lives to a corporation or go to the streets to join gangs and hang out. According to them, if they want to survive in this year, they must go to the corporate-controlled streets of Night City to be a stray dog. Ethan waited for a long time and didn't see the landlord come out. Out of courtesy, he didn't go in directly but said at the gate of the community, "Hello, is the landlord of Sunshine Apartments. I'm here to rent a house." After a while, an elderly man came out and looked at Ethan up and down. He looked at Ethan like a normal person and said, "Young man, are you renting?" Ethan nodded and said, "Sir, what are you afraid of when you hide in broad daylight?" The sound of "sir" made the old landlord stunned. He has lived for nearly 80 years, and most people addressed him with contempt. "Don't be afraid, no, we don't have smart decoration and equipment here, we don't belong to the company's jurisdiction, and the NCPD will not care about us," and Maelstrom effectively ruled this neglected corner of Watson. The landlord said with a bitter expression, "Boy, let me show you the room." Okay, there are many rooms in Sunshine Apartments but few residents. The building had running water, electricity, gas, and old-fashioned appliances such as rice cookers and induction stoves. This makes Ethan very satisfied. "Sir," Ethan pointed to the top floor of the Sunshine Apartments and said, "If no one lives there, I'd like to rent the top 3 floors." The old landlord couldn't figure out why Ethan rented so many rooms by himself, but he didn't ask. "No problem, just rent." "Don't worry about the rent, you can set a price," Ethan said cheerfully. In the end, Ethan won the right to live on the 3rd floor of the Sunshine Apartments at a price of €8,000. After the rental was over, Ethan immediately checked in with his bags. He had almost no luggage anyway, so he just asked Jack to bring some clothes over. After a person took the elevator to the top floor, Ethan stood on the rooftop, looked at some power distribution boxes near the community, the old-fashioned monitoring head, and called directly. "Friday, I will take over all available surveillance cameras and all power systems within a 2-kilometer radius. I want full awareness of everything happening nearby." "No problem, Ethan." Even without wearing the Iron Man armor, Ethan is still able to exhale Friday for his own convenience, which is praised. "Ethan, all accessible electronic devices within a 2-kilometer radius have been breached. Maybe you need a few oversized LCD monitors. I can handle this," Ethan said and walked down from the rooftop to the room below. The top floor is a large space without any partitions, which is perfect for storing monitoring equipment and Ethan's arsenal. Friday, these 3 floors and the rooftop are your domain. You should know how to do it. Ethan said, Friday is at your service. After roughly settling down, Ethan called Judy, and the Braindense editors would naturally know where to find the best computer equipment. V, it's strange that you can take the initiative to call me, Judy said half-jokingly. After carrying her through Desperate Island several times, the two had grown much closer, and Judy is not so cold anymore and she can still joke a bit. Judy, get down to business. Ethan said, I'm moving to a new house and I need a batch of computer equipment. It doesn't matter if the appearance is the best, do you have a way here? Judy, V like Jack, you are a mercenary dispatched by fixers. Why do you use a computer? What do you need that much hardware for monitoring your heart rate? After getting acquainted with Judy a little, she is not cold, but she has a special mentality. Ethan, of course I have my purpose. You won't help me with this little thing, right? Judy, don't be so troublesome. I recently replaced a batch of equipment. I wiped all personal data and removed the Braindense editing software. You can take it and use it. Next time you come, take it with you. It couldn't be better. After hanging up Judy, the place to live is no problem. After the housing issue was resolved, the environmental issue was extended. The Watson is the territory of the Maelstrom, and those lunatics with cyberpsychos will still converge within the scope of the company, but elsewhere they show their fangs, and it is common for them to directly slaughter in order to test new implants. Sunshine Apartments is in such a no-care zone. If Ethan doesn't want to be disturbed, he needs to improve his combat power. At present, the Iron Man armor looked like the Mark 50. In fact, for now, it was little more than an advanced bulletproof suit. When it comes to strengthening combat power, it is natural to install a cyberware. He could visit Victor for cyberware, but let's not talk about the expensive cost of the cyberware, and it needs to be operated. Since Ethan has a system, the cyberware can also be directly installed on the Iron Man armor, so why should he undergo surgery himself? What's more, the cyberware could be obtained for free. Ethan sat up from the bed. When he cleared 2077 before, he also knew that there were many hidden locations where he could obtain the legendary cyberware accessories. Ethan knows where the top mantis knives and monowires are. When they came to the rooftop, Ethan's clothes were rattling in the cold wind. Ethan double-clicked the triangle pendant on his neck and the armor was activated. Nanoparticles came out of the pendant like mercury, perfectly fitting Ethan's body, and the nanoparticle was fitted with the Mark 50 armor. Ethan's vision darkened, but it quickly recovered. The visibility in the armor remained unchanged, but there were more dense data panels in the field of vision. As far as the eye can see, as long as Ethan thinks, he can directly analyze the composition information of the item. Ethan activated his limbs and was as skilled as his own body. Friday, locate Haywood. Ethan said, I am searching the Haywood area of Night City. Currently, in order to plan the most suitable flight route, Ethan has completed all detection methods along the way. Friday, you did a good job. Ethan crouched slightly and then jumped upwards, propelling flames shot out from his palms and sent Ethan into the sky. The Mark 50's flight capability was extraordinary and quickly carried Ethan to high altitude. This height is beyond the reach of ordinary floating cars, and some are just gray clouds and the control satellites of some Arasaka companies or other military enterprises. On Friday, Ethan could fly under the eyes of these satellites without anyone noticing. Ethan is also very smart. He has no idea of moving these satellites now. 3 minutes later, Ethan crossed Night City and came directly to the Haywood area. The gang entrenched in the Haywood area is the Valentino gang, the former gang of Jack Wells. Ethan had no intention of clashing with the gang, so he scanned the Haywood area directly in the sky. Ethan, according to your settings, there are 3 places in this area that match the target. The comparison is in progress and the comparison is successful. Friday quickly used the algorithm to directly lock the hiding place of the mantis blades. Ethan flew towards the destination without saying a word. Ethan's flight altitude dropped a little, but he was still hiding in the darkness. All the detection networks and signals in the air could not detect the existence of Ethan, and the nanoparticles on his body would change color according to the flashing neon billboards around. It can be said that as long as Ethan doesn't take the initiative to stick his face, the people on the ground can't see him. This is a high-rise building in Haywood. There are dense storage tanks on the roof of the high-rise building, and there are many armed guards guarding it. In Ethan's field of vision, everyone's whereabouts can be easily seen, and even complex terrain can be seen through thermal imaging. Friday, can you try to paralyze the neural receivers of those guys? Ethan said. In the world of 2077, everyone has a neural port, which can be used to receive and process some information, and even the brains of those who have undergone cyberware modification have been specially processed. The best way to get rid of the mantis blades in these people is to hack the neural receiver. No problem. On Friday, a powerful hacking function was immediately dispatched, locking the hacking area on the rooftop area, breaking through various defense lines in one fell swoop, and shutting down the neural receiving units of everyone there. A guard with a gun fell silently to the ground, and the guards in other directions also fell to the ground like puppets with broken strings. Ethan, you have 30 seconds. Enough. Ethan dived directly to the ground and then went straight to the center of the rooftop, where he saw a special prosthetic storage box. It's just that the most sophisticated storage boxes are futile before Friday. The moment Ethan touched the switch, all of its security locks were bypassed. The box opened. I saw an extremely sharp mantis blades lying inside. Ethan, in 10 seconds the target will wake up. Friday reminded. Ethan didn't worry too much, grabbed the mantis blades and disappeared into the night. After a while, the armed guards on the rooftop woke up. They seemed to have fallen asleep and didn't notice anything wrong. Ethan, who got the mantis blades, flew directly into the sky, looked at the rooftop below and looked at the mantis blades in his hand. It is not troublesome to install the Iron Man armor on the mantis blades. Holding the mantis blades in your hand, the nanoparticle will cover it and store it on the prosthesis slot. Soon, a cyberware weapon column appeared in Ethan's field of vision. Prosthetic body, mantis knife rares. Introduction: the mantis blades is as fast as a gust of wind, with extremely fast attack speed, combo hits, and devastating damage to a single enemy. Not bad. Ethan clenched and released his left fist and seemed to be able to feel the mantis blades in the slot. After getting the thing, Ethan stopped staying and went directly to another place. Compared with the heavily guarded mantis blades, the monowire is free. After arriving at the place, Ethan directly removed the armor and then walked into a dilapidated warehouse in the dark night. After staying for a while, the monowire was also in the bag. At noon the next day, Ethan was woken up by a phone call. Caller ID Jack Wells. Hey V, I'm going to Sunshine Apartments soon. The road here is really hard to find. The phone could also hear the occasional bumpy sound due to poor road conditions. You'll be coming here often, get used to the road. Ethan contacted Jack Wells and asked him to go to the Lizzie's bar when he was delivering clothes for himself, and bring the computer equipment given by Judy at one time. At the gate of the community, Ethan saw the car driving over from a distance. V. Jack Wells bumped shoulders with Ethan in greeting with Ethan after getting out of the car and then opened the trunk. Give me a hand, this pile of computer hardware is damn heavy. After the two got their things to the top floor, Jack Wells looked around at Ethan's new house. V, you are good here, quite spacious, more than enough for a party. Jack Wells sighed. The nearby rooms are very empty, you can choose anyone to stay in. Ethan said, no, no, no. Jack Wells shook his head and refused. The place is spacious, but there is no smart device at all. But how can anyone live without smart systems? I don't have the ability to live like you. Until now, Jack Wells still doesn't know why Ethan came to rent a house in the wilderness. What was the point? Ethan smiled and said, by the way, how is Wakako Okada's errand? Everything's set. Jack Wells said vigorously, the operation time is set for tomorrow night and someone else is handling the detailed planning. I can only remind you that this time involves scavs and trauma team. It's not a big problem, Ethan said, ha ha ha. It's really not a big problem, Jack Wells said after Ethan. After all, we are the best partners. Japantown in the underground garage of an abandoned residential building. Ethan and Jack Wells came to the scene and were coordinating the action plan in the car. V, we have a top hacker friend in this operation. She'll support us remotely. Her name is T-Bug. Jack Wells handed Ethan an encrypted earpiece to prevent interception and eavesdropping. Hello, V, I'm T-Bug. Ethan put on the headphones and heard a cold female voice. T-Bug always spoke in the same cool, detached tone. Hello, T-Bug, Ethan greeted. Although Friday also has the function of hacking, but going through the plot with Jack Wells, it is better to choose to use it with caution. The chick we're looking for this time is in a room in this building. She was kidnapped by those bastards from the scavs. I'm afraid there will be a fierce battle later, and stay sharp, V. While speaking, Jack Wells opened the weapons suitcase and took one to Ethan. High-end suppressed weapons supplied by Wakako. Save the lecture, I'm not a rookie. Ethan scolded with a laugh. As soon as he got started, he would have figured out the structure of the entire gun. Okay, let's take the elevator up. The two went to the elevator, pressed down the 14th floor in the elevator. Before standing in the elevator for a few seconds, T-Bug's words rang in the headphones. The target is Sandra Dorset. A few hours ago, the target's biomonitor signal was lost, and the target was kidnapped by the scav. The target may be dead. She can't die. Ethan said indifferently, how could this first mission fail? Yes, she can't die. With me and V plus U, she can't die with such a lineup configuration. Jack Wells also answered, okay, then go up and have a look. After T-Bug finished speaking, she cut off the voice microphone on her side. Ding, soon the 14th floor arrived. Ethan and Jack Wells copied the guy when they got out of the elevator door. This floor is very dilapidated, and the corridors are dark and full of rubbish. Jack Wells rushed to the front, and Ethan followed behind. Room number 1237, the last location of the target is there, but I can't see her biometric signal. Jobs like this were always troublesome. Go to the door and open the door. V, can you open the door? Enough questions. Ethan came to the reinforced security door. Jack, take 2 steps back and stare at the corridor. Okay. Jack Wells immediately stepped back and became alert. After pulling Jack Wells away for a distance, Ethan double-clicked the triangular pendant and deployed nanoparticles over part of his body. The prosthetic monomolecular wire obtained before was loaded on the left arm by Ethan, and now it is just in use. The monowire has a strong hacking function and lethality. A line that looks like a solid infrared light directly penetrates the unlocking and identification area of the iron gate, and the alarm module was hacked in the blink of an eye. With a slight pull, Ethan cut off the entire lock block area. Jack. Ethan whispered and walked in. The apartment was a complete mess. There was an operating bed near the windowsill, and there was a female corpse covered with a black cloth lying on the bed. There was a lot of blood splattered on the medical equipment and the ground next to it, like a horror movie scene. Scavengers, these bastards. Jack Wells scolded in a low voice. He didn't want to see dead people, but he didn't want to see innocent people tortured to death. On the contrary, Ethan was much calmer. This is not Sandra Dorset. The biometric signal does not match. People may still be alive. You have to hurry. T-Bug reminded. The two came directly to a door, and through the slight gap, they could see a few scav members holding guys inside. Ethan and Jack Wells looked at each other and gently opened the door, then sneaked in silently. As a former mercenary, Jack Wells' stealth assassination is still very online. He slowly approached a person, suddenly pinched the person's neck from behind, and killed the person with a twist and then pushed the body aside. Freezer. Ethan's side is even simpler. If he is alone, he can even kill with a monowire in his left hand and a mantis blades in his right hand. Unfortunately, he is not. Instead of using these methods, Ethan has a simpler, let Friday first invade all the freezers here to adjust the minimum temperature, and then paralyze the neural receivers of the scavs. In the end, Ethan only needs to gently push people into the freezer, and the extreme temperature will freeze these guys to death. Ethan will not have the slightest sympathy for these awful. After a while, all the scavs personnel on the periphery were killed. Ethan and Jack Wells came to a door again, and behind the door was a large space with more than a dozen members of the scav armed with guns. Due to terrain restrictions, stealth assassination will not work. They would have to attack head-on. Damn, there are quite a few people. Jack Wells glanced at the crack of the door and backed away. The room in 1237 is very big. It should have been an antique office building or something before it was abandoned. When you came in, you could see a lot of debris piled up, which is why Ethan and Jack Wells were able to assassinate so smoothly. Assassination by stealth is caused by the environment, and the room with no partitions in Datung is naturally not effective. V, do you have any good ideas? Jack Wells said. Assassination can't be played inside, and a few people are still holding the big guy. Heavy firepower is a serious problem, and pistols were badly outmatched by automatic weapons. Don't worry. Ethan glanced at the surrounding rooms, and there were several powered appliances. See those smart appliances? Ethan said. Those appliances can't be used as weapons. Jack Wells said nervously. We hide first, then I hack into the alarm modules of the home appliances here and outside, and then the scav inside will definitely send a few people over here, and when the door is opened, you and I will be alone. Then we eliminate them one by one. V, you're really awesome. Jack Wells was convinced. Even in a scene where 2 pistols were used against multiple people, Ethan could still find a breakthrough. Enough talk, stay sharp, get ready. After Ethan said that, he rolled forward and came to the door near the open plan room. The most difficult part is naturally Ethan's own shot. As long as he triggers the smart home appliance alarm module, the people inside will send out a few. With the complicated situation ahead, Jack Wells has no problem dealing with a few scav members. And the members of the scavs who stayed in open plan room with heavy firepower were fortunate to have a taste of what a mantis blades was like. Hack all electronic products on Friday and trigger the alarm module. Ethan said, data hacking succeeded, drop drop. The next moment, the alarm modules of all smart home appliances outside were triggered, and a very harsh alarm sounded. When the scavs in the open plan room heard the alarm, they were also shocked, and then pointed to the four people and said, "What's going on outside? Go and have a look. If there are any mice that can't open their eyes, they will be killed at once." Several members of the scav with relatively low authority immediately burst open the door and went to the front. At this moment, a dark figure burst through the doorway from the door. After locking the door, he rushed forward and came to a certain scav member. Ethan jumped very high and waved his right hand sharply, slash. The part of the mantis blades exposed by the particles severed the man's head cleanly. After successfully killing one person, the monowire in the left hand was also thrown out, and the single molecule hacked into the other person's smart gun to prevent him from firing. At this time, Ethan was already close. The mantis blades swept through him, dismembering the man directly. It took just over a second to say that 2 people were killed before the remaining scav members reacted. "Damn it, open fire, kill him, kill him." Shoutings of anger and horror followed by the sound of gunshots. Duh. The submachine gun is a burst of output against Ethan, but all the bullets were blocked by a layer of mercury-like things when they got close. Friday controlled the nanoparticles, who controls the nanoparticles to intercept all the bullets that hit Ethan. Looks like a good job on Friday. All the scavengers are stupid. They have seen a prosthesis that is bulletproof, but they have never seen a prosthesis that blocks all bullets like mercury. This is not even the high-tech of the Arasaka can do this, right? When they were stunned, Ethan was not idle. The monowire was thrown out like a scythe of death, and when he knocked down another person, he even knocked down his arm. Different from the random killing within the attack range of the mantis blades, the monowire can be hacked remotely, or it can be directly pulled, and even the molecular cutting of the human body can be done. In this way, all the remaining scav members of Open Plan Room, every last one of them, and was cut down. After Ethan finished his work, Jack Wells also appeared from behind the door. "You think I became a mercenary for nothing? Play tactics with me, you didn't." F***K. Jack Wells walked in and looked at the messy scene and exclaimed directly, "Damn, did you carve these bastards apart?" Jack Wells couldn't help but think of Ethan's heroic slashing. It really tasted like an old-school swordsman slashing people decades ago. You are amazing. There's not much time, save people. After Ethan confirmed that Jack Wells was not injured, he went straight to the bathroom next to him. There were 2 people soaking in ice water in the bathroom, and the woman was the target, Sandra Dorset. Ethan reached out and fished the man out of the ice cube water and laid it flat on the ground. At this time, Sandra Dorset only had underwear on her body, and her wrists and ankles were cut open. Because of the ice water, the blood had stopped flowing and other injuries could not be seen from the outside, but the state is really bad. Her optical implant flickered, a sign of dying. Grass, what are these bastards doing harvesting people for parts? Jack Wells was reluctant to come in at the bathroom door, scolding loudly. "Jack, are you still afraid of this?" Ethan said, "I'm not afraid." Jack Wells said hesitantly, "When I was in the Valentino gang, I cut people and I was cut, and when I went to work as a mercenary, I came out of a hail of bullets. I've seen a lot of dead people, but I just don't want to see them being tortured like this." Jack Wells is an old-fashioned, silly big man. Jack Wells believes in doing things for a reason, gang fights, faction battles, or mercenary wars, which are the criteria for winning or losing. But you can't attack ordinary people. So what Jack Wells can't see the most is the scene of ordinary people being persecuted. "Has the man been found? Is he still alive?" T-Bug's voice rang out. "The person was found, but the situation is not very good." Ethan said, "I just fished her out of the ice water and there were many wounds on her body, but I guess the serious injury is internal and needs medical treatment. Connect her biosignal to C." T-Bug said, "Don't panic, even if she survives, she won't remember what happened and her subconscious is slightly damaged, that's all. That couldn't be better." Ethan directly used nanoparticles as a link to link into Sandra Dorset's neural port. The advantage of this is that the adverse reactions of biometric signals will not directly reach Ethan, linking into the biomonitoring panel. Sandra Dorset, 29 years old, blood type ART plus, identity ID, NC 570442, Trauma Team Platinum member. I'm going Trauma Team Platinum member. Even a minor emergency could summon a Trauma Team unit. The biomonitor panel kept reporting errors and kept reconnecting. The scav may have cut off the signal transmission, the biometric signal may have been hacked, it may have been a firmware flash or a neurovirus. You pull out her chip at the neural port and the signal should be restored. Ethan touched his ear and pulled out a chip in the shape of a data shard. After the chip was pulled out, the biomonitoring panel quickly returned to normal. Biomonitoring, hello Sandra, if you are conscious, please adjust to the resuscitation position immediately. Emergency evacuation troops have been dispatched and are expected to arrive at your location within 180 seconds. Jack, give me the air syringe. Ethan greeted. If she didn't come here, the woman probably wouldn't be able to survive the evacuation. Then. Jack Wells threw the green needle-hole syringe in without asking why. After Ethan caught it, he directly injected it into her chest and immediately picked up the person and walked out. Jack Wells was on guard with a gun. The scavs should stop their losses. The trauma team response unit of the trauma team is similar to the NCPD, and the scavs would never dare confront trauma team directly. Ethan directly picked up the person and put it on the terrace before the trauma team AV arrived of the trauma team response unit. On the occasion, he stepped into the room. We are saving people, are we so nervous, said Jack Wells. As a qualified mercenary, you should reduce exposure. Ethan said, okay. Jack Wells put the gun back, turned around and followed Ethan's pace. On the elevator downstairs, Wakako Okada also called. Jack Wells deliberately put the call on speaker so that Ethan could also communicate together. This is also the first time that Ethan meets Okada and Giko here. Jack and new friends, your mission was completed perfectly. The money is with me. You can come and get it anytime. Wakako Okada's words were neither close nor distant. Miss Wakako, I just said there is no problem with leaving it to us. Jack Wells said, haha. Mr. Jack has proven his reputation and I look forward to our future cooperation. No more than one sentence, no more than one sentence. Wakako Okada also hung up the phone. Jack, go to Wakako to get the money so there are no unnecessary delays. Ethan said suddenly after leaving from that place. Jack Wells thought about it and thought it made sense. It's okay just to save another trip, but don't you want to go to the Tiger Claws with me to see it? No, Ethan refused. According to the original plot, the scavs men did not leave but wanted to ambush on the road. Now send Jack Wells to the Tiger Claws to get the money and fly back by yourself. Just leave the scavs waiting for nothing. Sunshine Community, top floor residence. After a few days of busy work, Ethan finally got the top floor open plan floor without partitions into his preferred layout. Friday has taken over all the electronic eyes and monitoring equipment near the Sunshine Apartments, and then merged into an easy-to-understand data stream displayed on the computer equipment. Then there is the large, fully soundproofed weapon room. Ethan, who has weapon-proficient skills, can not only assemble and repair firearms by himself, but also design some weapons himself in the future. After all, the best weapons on the market now come from Arasaka companies, Military Enterprises or Kanto. Even smart home appliances produced by these capitals have the source code, let alone weapons. Gotta get rid of them slowly. After the weapon room is your own rest area, you can put a bed on it. As for the many rooms downstairs, they are still empty. In the future, they may store some things that Ethan picked up or some inventions. The rescue mission was accomplished very beautifully. The remuneration from Wakako Okada was very interesting. Ethan also earned a lot of money after dividing it evenly. In addition, he visited Lizzie's bar every few days to help Judy and earn extra money. Overall, Ethan had a pretty good life. Caller ID, Judy Alvarez. Hello, Judy. Ethan answered Judy's phone while sitting in front of the workbench with some usable weapons. Judy V, now I have two good news for you. Ethan, have you been taking speaking lessons from Jack? Judy, two really good news. Ethan, whom I'm listening. Judy, I've fixed all the mistakes in the second half of Desperate Island. It's now a perfect piece of black braindance without any special ones, and it's all our credit. Ethan, I don't dare to take credit for it, it's your skill. Judy, I said that if you have a share, you will have a share. If you don't take me into the second half of the simulation, where can I go to find a solution? Stop talking nonsense, I'm looking for you mainly to celebrate you come to Lizzie's bar. Ethan, I'll be there soon. After changing clothes, Ethan rode the Yaba Kusanagi CT3X and came to Lizzie's bar. Even in the daytime, the activity of Lizzie's bar was not reduced in the slightest. Although the atmosphere was a little worse, there were many people drinking and experiencing braindances. Good afternoon, V. The two beautiful girls from the Mox gang who were guarding the door were already familiar with Ethan. Hello. Ethan also said hello. You are special, so you don't have to go to the main entrance every time. The beautiful girl pointed to the top and said, you can go to the rooftop and there is a good boxing match there. If you want to play, our sisters will go there, take a look. Next time. Ethan waved his hand and walked into the Lizzie bar. Entering the Lizzie's bar, it is still the familiar BGM with the familiar lighting. Ethan quickly walked across the stage from the back door to the entrance of the basement, and then pushed the door and walked in. "V, are you here?" Judy said as soon as Ethan came down the stairs. This was the first time that Ethan saw that Judy was not working and even the computer equipment was in a standby state. Ethan looked around for a week. "Isn't it a celebration?" "Just the two of us. Is there a problem?" Judy asked rhetorically. Ethan shook his head and looked around, not to mention food. He didn't even have a bottle of beer. Judy saw Ethan's question at a glance and teased, "Who told you to be here? This is my studio and not a restaurant. Then go out to eat? Well, wait for me to change clothes first." Ethan stood there and didn't know what to say. Judy was rarely willing to go out of the basement. Even the meal was brought in by the little sisters of the Mox gang. As a Braindance editor, she has seen most of the ugliness in Night City, and she locked herself here because she was unable to change or do anything. Are you asking Ethan out now? There is an option to attack Judy in the 2077 game plot, but Ethan is out of reach as a man, but now it seems that nothing is impossible. Judy, like Ethan, integrates work and rest. Her room is a corner not far from the computer equipment, surrounded by a smart anti-peeping curtain. No matter how you look at it, there is not even a shadow of a person reflected in the light. After a moment, Judy changed her clothes. Well, as a cool sister, Judy is still wearing black overalls, and the inner lining is a white sports bra. Although the size is not exaggerated, it is barely enough. After the two came up from the basement, the Mox gang stared as though they had seen a ghost. "Judy, you, I can't come out to get some air yet." Judy reached out and touched the little sister's arm and said, "See you later." The little sisters of the Mox gang all know Judy's style. She is someone who would rather lock herself in the basement to edit Braindance, someone who doesn't want to come out to eat, and who rents an apartment outside and only goes back occasionally. Most shocking of all, Judy came out with a man. Everyone knows that Judy is not interested in men. Except for the little sisters who were guarding the entrance, even the few players on the rooftop basketball court were stunned and completely stopped what they were doing. After Ethan and Judy disappeared from sight, a little sister from the Mox gang seemed to have to report. "Sister Evelyn Judy, she went out with a man who is often here." After coming down from the rooftop, the two went straight to the underground garage of Lizzie's bar. True to her style, Judy doesn't like to take the subway or even take a car. She only likes motorcycles, the kind of engine resonance and the feeling of speed and close contact with the wind. Ethan didn't ask where the destination was. Judy took out a pink motorcycle chip, pressed the start button, and a pink and green motorcycle with a very Mox gang-style graffiti in the corner slowly drove out. "V, do you need me to carry you?" Ethan was just about to take out the motorcycle chip of the Grass Yeba Kusanagi CT3X, and after hearing this, he put the chip in the bag with his backhand. That's the best. The dreaded expensive motorcycle was immediately forgotten. Sitting in the back seat of Judy's motorcycle, you can observe Judy's perfect figure up close, and there is also a faint scent of perfume in the nose, which is not a grade at all compared to the smelly fish and rotten shrimp in those apartments. "V, if you do something weird in the back, I'll throw you off," Judy said half-jokingly. "I know how to behave," Ethan said lightly. The two drove their motorcycles through the streets of Night City and soon came to Little China near Japantown. Every area of Night City has its own characteristics, such as the Japantown at the throat, which is full of colorful neon billboards that live up to the name of neon. The Little China in the same location is also rich in color, but most of those neon billboards display various dishes from the East, and some of the most famous foods are even directly made into projections and float in the air. "V, you're from the East, we'll eat here, right?" Judy was still very thoughtful. "Naturally, Ethan will not disappoint. Oriental cuisine, Judy, you have a good eye." Putting the motorcycle in the underground garage, the two went shopping in Little China. The biggest feeling for Ethan in Little China is the intimacy. After living in Night City for a month, the daily communication is in English, Japanese, or French, and all the words that can be contacted are also these. It's still very comfortable to come to the familiar surroundings of Little China this time. "Looks like you like it here," Judy said. "I like the food here. Sometimes when I get tired of Western food, I will sneak over here to treat myself. It's not like I like it here, I can only say that there is a slight sense of belonging." Ethan said, "In the past life there were also many Little Chinas abroad, but most of the Little Chinas were little more than tourist imitations. Most of the owners of the stores in Chinatown didn't even speak complete Huxia, and they knew a little bit of Oriental cuisine. It probably won't change in Night City. The sense of belonging that Ethan said is probably the Oriental charm created by the dazzling array of Little China." Boom, boom, boom. Before Ethan and Judy visited a few stores, an explosion and bursts of gunfire erupted ahead. There is currently a violent incident in Little China, and the perpetrator has violated Night City urban management law. The NCPD is about to arrive at the scene to suppress the violence. Irrelevant personnel, please clear the area immediately. The siren in Little China sounded, and the no passing cursor warning line was directly pulled up on the street ahead. Everything was quite sudden. Damn these endless lunatics. Judy scolded. She really didn't know what these guys were fighting for in the streets every day. It seems that I don't have to eat today. Ethan said, but you don't have to be in Little China if you want to eat Oriental food. There are other places where you can eat it. Judy, where? Ethan's my home. Judy stared at Ethan for a long time, perhaps because of Ethan's seriousness. She suddenly laughed and said, "It's hard to come out once. I can't go back to Lizzie for delivery. Okay, then go. You. There is no smart device where I live, but there is an authentic experience." Ethan said, "Let's go there first and then call Jack. You can also make an appointment with a friend." Judy, "I have no friends. Evelyn Parker, just ask her out." "Do you like corn? It's a good thing to eat, boiled or grilled. Beef is good too. The beef is sliced and it only takes a few seconds to cook the slices. Is chili okay? Chili is the soul." After Ethan and Judy came to the Sunshine Apartments, Ethan took people to buy vegetables. When it comes to shopping for food and cooking, the special supermarkets in the 2077 world have the perfect nutritional ratio. If you don't want to eat, you can take a few injections of protein supplements to provide the energy your body needs. However, the changes brought about by technology cannot be felt in the Sunshine Apartments, which is indifferent. So far, some poor people near the Sunshine Apartments still have such an existence as a vegetable market. The things that are grown and raised by themselves are put on the market to do some sell among themselves. Judy followed Ethan and followed him to every booth, which was strange to Judy but also very interesting. She had never seen vegetables sold without corporate processing. Those dishes were close at hand, there was dirt on the roots and there was dew on the dishes. And the faces of these hawkers selling produce are also full of smiles, which are much stronger than those cold robots in the city. For Judy, everything is a new experience. Ethan took Judy to the vegetable market for a while and then went upstairs after buying the ingredients. "Make yourself comfortable, I'll go and put things away." Ethan greeted, said to sit casually. In fact, there was barely anywhere to sit except near the workbench. "V, do you mind if I take a tour?" Judy asked. "I'll handle the ingredients, you can do whatever you want." Ethan said, "Anyway, when others are around, it is closed by default on Fridays." Judy wandered around the spacious room, unimaginable that there were really no smart home devices. Could this be the tune of Mercenaries? Judy glanced at the computer equipment that Ethan asked for with him. The computer equipment was against the wall, and the screen displayed the surveillance electronic eye scenes in all directions of the community. As a tech expert, Judy naturally knows what it means. She also has surveillance electronic eyes around the basement. People are usually inside, but she can also see the movement outside. In Ethan, the entire area of Sunshine Apartments is included. You don't need to guess to know what Ethan's intentions are. This side is a three-way zone, and the Maelstrom and Watson is an out-and-out cyberpsychos, and they are crazy in areas not under the jurisdiction of the company. Ethan's move also has the meaning of protecting the residents. As for what to guard, Judy just saw it downstairs. After looking away from the computer equipment, Judy looked at Ethan's arsenal again. Various guns of different shapes have been displayed on the weapon wall, but none of them have smart modules installed. There are some loose parts on the workbench, as well as a layer of drawings. On the blueprint is a precise design draft of the weapon drawn in pencil. Judy was stunned. Although she is not a weapons expert, she knows that top companies like Arasaka or Kanto are also developing weapons. Now the precise design of weapons is all handed over to AI for intelligent calculation and composition. Pencils had almost disappeared, and it is unexpected to see such a precise design manuscript here. Judy looked at it carefully and was impressed by the various designs on this drawing. The braindance editing is also the same, and the weapon design is also fine, and it is a demanding technical discipline. For a while, Judy developed a strong interest in Ethan. Does a wanderer who has just arrived in Night City really have such diverse and excellent strengths? In the kitchen, Ethan didn't know Judy's opinion of his new house. After washing the dishes, Ethan suddenly thought that it had been a few days since he signed in for the Iron Man suit. The new check-in count has been refreshed. System check-in every day, Ethan said. Sign in successfully, get perfect level of danger perception reaction. Sign in successfully, get the perfect level plug-in production drawing. Sign in successfully and get perfect cooking skills. The 3 sign-in rewards are very good, especially the third cooking skills. If Ethan's cooking skills were still barely edible before this, then the cooking of various dishes, the control of the heat, the mastery of the taste, and the processing skills of various ingredients are all integrated into the knowledge base. It was as if he had become a chef. It's really perfect timing. Ethan smiled. These guys we're in for a feast today. I'm here, Jack Wells said loudly when he came in, but when he came in, he saw Judy sitting in front of the workbench and Ethan busy in the kitchen. Did I walk into the wrong place? Jack Wells said in disbelief. Before he could figure out why Judy was here, the door behind him was pushed open again. Evelyn Parker also walked in. Evelyn Parker's appearance is always stunning, naturally dressed in a fur-lined coat over a sleek outfit, and Jack Wells stared openly. Evelyn, Judy greeted inside. If it wasn't for Mox's little sister calling me, I wouldn't know you came out. Evelyn Parker's tone sounded not in a particularly good mood. Those little girls are still lax, don't worry, I'm just going for a ride with V, Judy said. Oh, V, Evelyn Parker nodded and walked straight to the kitchen. I need to speak with him. Judy, this is... Jack Wells felt that his brain was not enough. Didn't he just come to eat Oriental food? Why is it Judy and Evelyn Parker again? Judy was fine, but Evelyn Parker wasn't easy. It's okay, Jack. In the kitchen, Ethan sliced various vegetables and then saw Evelyn Parker appear at the door. Evelyn Parker took a cigarette out of her bag and lit it. V, let's talk. Ethan, you said Evelyn Parker. Judy's new attempt at black braindance should be about the same, right? Ethan, don't you also know something about braindance? In more detail, you know better. Evelyn Parker, in all fairness, you helped restore braindance. I paid you and didn't treat you badly. Ethan, $20,000 is a very good price, but Evelyn, just say it directly, don't make any detours. Evelyn Parker, why did you bring Judy out with you? Sure enough, this is the reason. Ethan sliced the potatoes and said, Evelyn, you can ask Judy herself about this question. V, Judy is important to me. Evelyn Parker, understand, don't have any thoughts about her, otherwise your life in Night City will not be too peaceful. Evelyn Parker is a decent person with identity and money. Generally speaking, the words of such a person have a lot of weight, but it does not apply to Ethan. Ethan was still unmoved, and the movements at hand kept on going. Today is the day when Desperate Island was filmed. Judy asked me to celebrate. We went to Little China, and the NCPD came over because gang violence had broken out there. Then I suggested coming to my place to taste the Oriental food I made myself. If I want to do something to Judy, do you think your little sister Mox would know our whereabouts? Evelyn Parker stared at Ethan for a long time. She was also able to see many prominent people in Night City. She has come into contact with the company's elite executives, gang leaders, and killer mercenaries who do their jobs beautifully. But Evelyn Parker read a different feeling in Ethan. This man is mysterious and powerful. I can't find too many details and I don't reveal any clues. The most important thing is that Judy gets along very well with him. So do you still have questions? If not, come and carry the ingredients out. Ethan said, what? As soon as Evelyn Parker stopped smoking, did this guy change the subject? Why, come over to eat the dishes I made and you still can't help. Ethan couldn't help but put the cut vegetable plate in Evelyn Parker's hand. Evelyn Parker felt a little weird when she came out of the kitchen with the prepared ingredients. Didn't she go to Ethan to warn Ethan? How could it be like this after a few words? Evelyn, you are so diligent, Judy joked. Evelyn Parker put the dishes on the table and saw that Jack Wells was also there and regained her old feeling. It's okay to be a guest at someone else's house and help a little. The Oriental dishes made by Ethan are also very simple, that is, the Sichuan hot pot. One pot could bring every ingredient together. The 4 of them gathered around a table with an induction cooker and a pot on the table. The crimson broth bubbled, and the scattered fragrance seduced everyone's taste buds. Especially under the interpretation of Ethan's perfect cooking skills, no one could resist it. Try it and see if you can kill things in Little China. Ethan invited the 3 to do it. Damn, that smells incredible. Jack Wells picked up a piece of meat directly, rinsed it in the pot for a few seconds according to Ethan's instructions, then dipped it in a little more and put it in his mouth. Damn, this is delicious. Judy and Evelyn Parker are more refined than Jack's rough table manners. They took some vegetables and cooked them, and when they were cooked, they tasted them. Then her eyes lit up. V, if you don't work as a mercenary, you probably won't starve to death. For Judy, this was a big compliment. Evelyn Parker also agreed. Lizzie's bar is estimated to have a good salary. Ethan smiled and said, you don't get food like this every day, so eat while it's hot. The hot pot meal brought everyone much closer, especially Jack Wells, whose face had turned red from the heat, and who openly declared that the overly sweet food in Little China could not compare. The rich, spicy aroma of the red broth, along with the freshness of the special dipping sauce, made it impossible to stop eating. Judy and Evelyn Parker were also sweating from the spice. In addition to satisfying the taste buds, the hot pot warmed them from the inside. That was incredible, what a meal. Jack Wells slumped on the chair and touched his bulging belly. The man could eat an astonishing amount. V, can you do more in the future? Jack Wells said eagerly. Occasionally you can't treat me as a cook, can you? That's not possible, you are a master. Jack Wells said, occasionally it's good, bring Misty over to try it next time. Ethan's eyes returned to the two daughters. Judy mostly ate the vegetables, and Evelyn Parker, a glamorous lady, can eat spicy food, and even dared to taste the broth. After a while, this wonderful hot pot meal is over. V, you live up to your name, and your cooking really does beat the restaurants in Little China. Judy praised, I agree with Jack, and I will make more of it in the future. Evelyn Parker also wiped her mouth and nodded in agreement. It's delicious, not inferior to the top restaurants. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Ethan said. Although Ethan remained calm on the surface, Ethan was already happy in his heart. Unreleased, one can say no to hot pot. Yes, no one, he had absolute confidence in Chinese cuisine. Let me do the dishes. Judy volunteered and walked into the kitchen. Evelyn Parker watched Judy wash dishes in the kitchen, humming a little tune. Inexplicably, Evelyn Parker felt that today's Judy seemed to have a little more smile on her face. Is it really because of this V? Evelyn Parker's heart was mixed. Drop, drop. At this time, a communication rang. When Evelyn Parker saw the contact, the expression on her face instantly switched from blank to professional charm. After saying goodbye to Ethan and Jack Wells, Evelyn Parker quickly left the Sunshine Apartments. Hello, dear. Evelyn, why did you take so long to answer today? A suspicious male voice rang from the other end of the phone. Honey, sorry, I was just taking a shower, Evelyn Parker said. Well, I just said why you didn't agree to the video, but with our relationship, is it necessary for you not to answer the video when you take a shower? It's not like I haven't seen it. The man laughed. People are shy. Stop talking about this, Evelyn. Come to Konpeki Plaza tonight. I miss you. You can come directly. After the man's voice fell, he hung up. A strange color flashed in Evelyn Parker's eyes, and then she came to the front of the car and said to the driver of the Mox, send me to the Konpeki Plaza. Judy came out of the kitchen after washing the dishes. Where's Evelyn? I took a call and left. Ethan said, okay, V, then I'm about to go back. There's still a lot of braindance editing work to do. Judy picked up the motorcycle chip on the table and walked out of the door. See you next time. After sending Judy away, only Ethan and Jack Wells were left in the room. Jack Wells asked, V, what have you been doing these past few days? You've gotten close to Judy and even Evelyn Parker came. Ethan did not speak. Jack Wells understood in an instant. Okay, secrets, you homeless always like to hide secrets, but Buddy is different from you, I'm an open book. V, do you want to make it big? Jack Wells said. Ethan rolled his eyes at Jack Wells and said, stop talking nonsense, let's get straight to the point. Wakako Okada was so satisfied with the rescue mission we performed a few days ago that our names have started spreading on the street. I was wandering outside these 2 days and Dexter Deshawn's people contacted me. Do you know, V, Dexter Deshawn is the most powerful fixer in Night City. The jobs that he can get out of his mouth are of the highest level, and the rewards are also the most. Working with him can also prove that our level. It can be said that with his connections, we'll rise fast, V. Ethan said sharply, money is not so easy to earn. The more you give, the more you pay. There is no free lunch in the world. V, fortune favors the bold. Jack Wells said confidently, isn't there an old saying in the East that you can't catch a wolf without risking the bait? You can't catch a wolf without risking the child. Ethan said, then you can get in touch, just let me know when you do it. V, it's really interesting. Jack Wells said with a sigh of relief, the combination of you and my brothers must be invincible, no problem. Jack Wells left happily. After sending the silly big man away, Ethan showed a little sadness on his face. After Dexter Deshawn appeared, then the main plot of Cyberpunk 2077 was beginning. The first time he needed to face the maelstrom was like pulling teeth from a tiger. Thinking of this, Ethan called Victor directly. Ethan, Victor, is it convenient to speak now? Victor, it's V. If I have anything inconvenient to talk about, I am the only one in the Ripperdoc clinic. Ethan, I want to ask, do you have any high-end cyberware in stock? Victor, advanced cyberware. V, are you planning to get implanted? Ethan, unreleased. Jack got on Dexter Deshawn's line. Our next trip should be very dangerous. I thought that Jack would definitely find you. You can find a way to upgrade him if it would be better to have a good prosthesis. Victor, Dexter Deshawn is a very powerful fixer in Night City, and it is indeed a big move for him to handle things. Since you asked, I will not hide it from you, I have a right to remodel. Body gorilla arms, but the price of this thing is a bit high. Ethan, how much? Victor, even after counting the money you left with me, it's still nearly 100,000 euro dollars. In 2077, 100,000 euro dollars is definitely not a small amount. The general top cyberware or smart weapons start at this price. Of course, people who can afford it are part of it. If 100,000 euro dollars is considered an astronomical figure in the eyes of others, it is not a big problem for Ethan. Victor, reserve those gorilla arms for me. I will send the money later today. Ethan hung up the phone after finishing speaking, catch the path of Dexter Deshawn, and the next task is to navigate the turbulent waters of the Maelstrom. The Maelstrom is one of the 7 major gangs in Night City. They dominate the northern Watson. They are a group of cyberpsychos, and they are also a group of people with some of the most extreme cyberware modifications. They are crazy bloodthirsty, and their combat effectiveness is no longer the level of ordinary small gangs. Going to the Maelstrom means talking to the first little boss, Royce. Dealing with Royce would be like pulling teeth from a tiger. This mission is far more difficult and risky than saving people from the scavenger last time. So just relying on 2 pistols is not enough, and more preparations are required. Just when Ethan was thinking about how to collect the 100,000 euro dollars, a red skull icon suddenly popped up on the computer screen next to him. Friday, show me what's happening. Ethan's thoughts were instantly pulled out. Ethan, a large convoy is approaching 10 kilometers south of the residence. According to your settings, I have detected that those convoys are equipped with heavy weapons and have good combat effectiveness. Friday's voice sounded. After taking over the screen, all the monitoring electronic eyes showed the picture. At a place less than 10 kilometers away from the Sunshine Apartments, a convoy was flying towards this side with smoke and dust. As the picture is further stretched, you can see that they were all open-top off-road vehicles, and you can see some muscular men with extensive cyberware modifications on the car, combined with the unique logo on each vehicle. Here comes the Maelstrom. The Sunshine Apartments is a lawless district, and such places are generally used by the Maelstrom to experiment with new cyberware. These bastards enjoy the thrill of transformation and slaughter, and they don't do anything that is related to people. If Ethan didn't live here, 10 minutes later this place would be a sea of rubble and fire, and innocent people would be slaughtered horribly. I'm worried that I don't have a place to get materials so good to come Maelstrom. Ethan sneered and then went to the rooftop. On the rooftop you can see the restless smoke not far away. Friday, time to stretch our legs. Ethan double-clicked the triangle pendant and the Mark 50 armor spread across his body like liquid mercury. With the propelling flame spurting out of his palm, Ethan rose into the sky and greeted the vortex to help the team. On the other side, the Maelstrom team came to a stop not far from the Sunshine Apartments. The gang members in the off-road vehicles were checked the weapons in their hands one by one, eager for violence. Brothers, I think the gameplay of just rushing in and killing people is really boring. A big man said suddenly. This place is full of old, weak, sick, and disabled. There is no fun in simply killing parents in front of their children or cutting off children's heads in front of parents. How can you play without killing them directly? In my opinion, why don't we have a killing contest? Let's see who kills more and kills faster. The prize pool is 2,000 euro dollars. Dahan said, others' eyes lit up. A killing game sounded interesting. The Maelstrom was fanatically obsessed about cyberware modification. In 2077, although the cyberware technology has been pushed to the 4th generation, it is still unable to achieve complete cyberization at the technical level. Even the Arasaka Corporation can't do it, but the people of the Maelstrom are different. These lunatics had no humanity, no thoughts, and only an endless desire for cyberization. Every once in a while they tinker with new cyberware, and the best way to experiment with new cyberware is to kill. In Night City, each area has different gangs, and there are many companies. Therefore, testing new cyberware was placed on ordinary people, and the Maelstrom like to cause killings in lawless areas. Sometimes, people who want to stimulate will go to Night City to kill people on the street. These guys are collectively referred to as cyberpsychosis. For a group of neurodollarses, stimulation is what matters. So when the big man mentioned the game to kill, all the people who came had eyes lit up. Since there is no pleasure in killing these old, weak, sick, and disabled people, turning it into a contest was enough to excite them. The large man stood up straight and said, since you are playing games, we need rules. If you rush in and kill each other later, you won't be able to tell who killed them, so each person gets 10 minutes. That's a great idea. 10 minutes won't kill everyone, and the rest I'll kill you in fear of death. Wonderful. Everyone from the maelstrom laughed in unison, and the 10-minute game to kill was a great proposal. As the proposer, I'm the first one, right? The big man moved his arm. The part he transformed was a steel claw that pierced a person's chest like tofu. Let's start, we can't wait. The others in the maelstrom started the clock immediately. The man with the metal claws sneered and then ran toward the brightly lit sunshine apartments. It won't be long before that warm scene will cease to exist. Just before the iron claw big man ran out a few steps, he heard something tearing through the air above his head. As soon as he looked up, he saw a black shadow falling from the sky. Ethan in the sky swooped down, and in front of all the maelstrom helpers, the mantis blades in his right hand bounced out, and then directly slashed at the iron claw man with the help of the speed of the dive. There is no such thing as a whole corpse within the range of the mantis blades slashing. Puff, the modified iron claw that the iron claw man was most proud of, was the first to be cut off. Just as he was about to question it, he found that his vision spun. It took less than 10 seconds for him to be dismembered when he ran out of the iron claw big man. The people of the maelstrom were stunned and saw a red-gold mecha figure standing in front of them. The streamlined design and the mantis blades that opened and closed on the right arm gave them a great impact. Damn it, he killed one of us. Someone shouted, and the others finally raised their weapons as if they had just woken up from a dream. A muscular man took out a Gatling directly from the car and rushed at Ethan. Offend our maelstrom and Watson, no matter who you are, you will die. Bullets poured toward Ethan like rain, but those bullets couldn't even force the nanoparticles. Ethan just walked over. He advanced alone through their combined fire. That armor is tough, watch me cut you. One of them's cyberware completely changed his arm into a sword, and he was madly rushing towards Ethan. Ethan turned his head, the monowire threw out and pierced directly into his chest, and then pulled hard. The analysis and cutting instantly cut the man into several pieces. For these people, Ethan has no words of mercy. Every one of these men, and they all have a lot of lives on their hands. The first step toward burning this city down is to clean up you scumbags. Ethan's killing voice sounded, and then the mantis blades in his right hand and the monowire in his left hand directly killed everyone on the opposite side. After a while, all the people from the maelstrom were immediately wiped out. Ethan unwrapped the prosthesis suit and then collected the damaged cyberware components nearby. The cyberware material is also very valuable, and the maelstrom team can easily be worth 100,000 euro for the things on their body. Put all the cyberware materials in an off-road vehicle and then explode other vehicles to destroy the evidence. After doing all this, Ethan pulled the thing to Victor. As for how to deal with the cyberware material, he didn't need to worry about it. The next day, Ethan and Jack Wells met at the previous apartment. Jack Wells greeted at the food stand. Jack, do you like to eat every time we meet? Ethan said, it's easier to work on a full stomach. Jack Wells said, by the way, I almost forgot to tell you that Dexter Deshawn contacted me. Ethan said calmly, so what does he want? It's not about what I want, it's Deshawn who wants to see you. Ethan, see me. Jack, are you kidding me? Isn't our contact person outside always you? Jack Wells, who knows? People suddenly said they wanted to see you this morning. Ethan, I told you that I want to keep a low profile. You won't let me out with your big mouth, right? Jack Wells, the conscience of the world, you like to keep a low profile and keep secrets, don't I know? I didn't tell him a thing. Ethan, then he wants to see me. Jack Wells put down the food box and said, Dexter Deshawn is the most powerful fixer in Night City, even more powerful than Wakako and Padre. They are big people and there are many ways to check us. I'm all set, you can go to meet up as normal, just have a chat, there won't be any problems. Ethan touched his chin and said, then it doesn't make much sense for him to see me. It's only been over a month since he came to Night City, and Ethan hasn't done much work other than saving Sandra Dorset. As a result, Dexter Deshawn found out. Is it to say that this guy's intelligence network and investigation methods are awesome, or that Night City has no privacy? Forget it, just like what Jack said, the big man has a lot of tricks. He doesn't look for you or a bug, Ethan said. Jack Wells shook his head and said, T-Bug is useful for cracking systems, but she hates meeting people, and T-Bug and Deshawn also know each other. As for me, it used to be all right, but that opportunity passed a long time ago. Ethan twitched the corners of his mouth. Okay, then in the position you gave me, I'll go see Dexter Deshawn. Jack, you can go to Victor and get an upgrade. Jack Wells gave him an okay sign, unreleased problem V. The two left the stall and got into the car together. Is this still my second-hand car? Ethan looked at the many more parts on the car and almost didn't recognize it. A man's car is part of his reputation. Since I can't afford a new car, I naturally have to make it better. Jack Wells got into the car familiarly and said, I specially saved some money and asked my brother in the factory to repair it. Yes, every part is high quality. Just be happy. Ethan said. After driving around the Watson area for a while, Ethan got off the bus halfway and went to meet Dexter Deshawn next to the nearby Gramsci Burgers. As for Jack Wells, he went to see Victor for an upgrade. After getting off the bus, Ethan was walking on the street. He rarely walks like this on the road in Night City, not to mention that he can't feel driving. If he doesn't drive and walk, he suddenly feels that the nearby tall buildings are taller. The cold weight of the city pressed down on him. Bang, bang, bang. When passing through a bridge hole, several armed men stood amid bloodstains on the street basketball court under the bridge. Ethan didn't have the habit of meddling and walked away. Soon Ethan saw a luxury longboard car on a street, with a strong bodyguard and driver standing beside the car. The strong man saw Ethan approaching and then opened the car door without saying a word. There was a big black fat man sitting in the car who looked like Harden in the previous NBA life. Hello, Mr. V. Dexter Deshawn said hello. Dexter Deshawn, your reputation precedes you hello. Ethan said, so what, can you open the window before we talk business? Dexter Deshawn looked at Ethan with great interest. He had seen many mercenary killers. Unreleased matter how much blood was poured out on the streets, those guys were weak in front of him, but Ethan would not. Come on, open the window and let Mr. V breathe. Dexter Deshawn said. The driver in front immediately started the car and opened the window wider. The smell of the premium cigar in the cabin was blown away directly by the wind. Dexter Deshawn didn't care either and he said, I want to ask Mr. V a question before we talk about it. That's what you said, Ethan said. Would you like to be a nameless person, live in peace all your life, and die peacefully in old age with a catheter in you? Or even if you don't live to the age of 30, you will be remembered as a legend. Hearing this topic, Ethan said naturally, I don't choose either. Oh, Dexter Deshawn raised an eyebrow even though he didn't have one. Can I hear Mr. V's answer? Ethan adjusted his sitting position, looked at Dexter Deshawn and said, my choice is to be a powerful person when I'm alive and to be famous when I die. Besides, my health is fine, so I shouldn't use a urinary catheter. Haha. Dexter Deshawn couldn't help laughing. I've asked many people this question and none of their answers are Mr. V's. It's so interesting. Ethan said, chat, it's only interesting if you're interested. You can only talk past each other if you're boring. So Mr. Deshawn, would you mind if I ask a question instead? Dexter Deshawn nodded and said, Mr. V, please. Ethan said, why did Mr. Deshawn meet me by name? I remember I was very low-key. Dexter Deshawn, Mr. V, you know I'm a businessman. Ethan, your name is very famous in Night City. Dexter Deshawn, the business I do is all about identifying the needs of a certain group of people, and then finding some really capable people to bringing both sides together between the two. Jack and we are old acquaintances. I also know a little about Wakako Okada's work. They can save people in the hands of the scavenger and then walk away cleanly, leaving the scavenger's people nowhere to seek revenge. With such strength and such planning, Jack is good with guns and blades, but the planning is okay. As a hacker, T-Bug is only responsible for technical aspects, and she doesn't care even if the strategy is adjusted. And then I learned that Jack has a new friend, Mr. V. If you are a fixer, wouldn't you want to meet such a good player and then cooperate? Dexter Deshawn is worthy of being the best fixer in Night City, and he never uses a gun to open his way, nor does he stuff his large frame into a cyber hacker's seat or work remotely in a dirty garage. He has never shot himself in his life so far, because his ability to deal with people is the most powerful, and he is a big man in Night City regardless of his size or status. Regarding Ethan's question, Dexter Deshawn also told the question in a frank manner which sounded very comfortable. Ethan smiled. It's not bad to be able to work with a top fixer like Mr. Deshawn. Dexter Deshawn laughed and said, before I met Mr. V, I was worried that you were not worthy of your name, but now it seems that the outside world still underestimates you. Compared with Ethan's amazement at Dexter Deshawn's words, Deshawn himself was the most shocked. He didn't seem to be facing a mercenary killer, but a legend like Morgan's Black Hand. Okay, let's get down to business. Dexter Deshawn handed over a chip. In 2077, everyone brought their own card reader and chip. Ethan took it and inserted it into the back of his head. The detailed information about this mission is fully displayed. This is a prototype and it's also a biochip. Retrieve it, that's the job. Ethan knew it well, but he still smacked his lips and said, Mr. Deshawn, this is the product of Arasaka Corporation. Yes, Arasaka Corporation, I believe it should not be difficult for Mr. V. Ethan. Mr. Deshawn is really flattering me. Arasaka controls all of Night City. Isn't it like an egg striking a rock? Dexter Deshawn, if you don't enter the tiger's den, you won't catch the cub. This is the #1 rule in the next life, and I'm not stupid. How can I not have a little arrangement? I won't leave any clues. This work must be completely invisible, do you understand? Ethan, let's get a rough idea and talk about your plan. Dexter Deshawn, first of all, I have something to do with the Whirlpool guys and need to be dealt with first. Sure enough, the plot still went away. Ethan glanced at the data about the maelstrom on the chip and then called Friday to copy the relevant data. How to deal with the maelstrom? Ethan said, it's the same old story. A gang robbed the equipment of the Militech transport team 2 weeks ago. The people in the company didn't know that it was done by the maelstrom. There is a small combat robot called Flathead, a prototype, a high-end Militech. I want it. That thing was bought from the maelstrom. The problem is that the seller was originally Brick, and Brick is the former boss of the maelstrom. Why do you say the former? Because his good brother Royce overthrew him, and no one knows whether Brick is still alive. There is a key person to use, a man from the company's transport team named Meredith Stout. Ethan nodded. Okay, it's almost done, stop in front. Dexter Deshawn sighed professionally and said, I'll arrange for you to meet Miss Parker, but as for Flathead, you can find your own way. Unreleased. Ethan said, you don't need to make any arrangements, I'll handle the arrangements myself, just prepare the commission. After that, Ethan opened the car door and walked out. In the car, after listening to the driver all the way, he said, Mr. Deshawn, is this kid too crazy and will he be unreliable? Skilled people are allowed a little attitude. If he succeeds, we can cooperate again. If he fails, the people from the maelstrom will make him regret it. In short, we have nothing to lose. Getting off Dexter Deshawn's car, Ethan didn't go to the Lizzie's bar to meet Evelyn Parker. Although Evelyn Parker is in a hurry as a live client this time, there was no harm in making her wait. Many of the troubles in the back, including the plot killing of Jack in the game plot, have her great responsibility. This woman is far too ambitious. Let her wait now. Coming to the side of the road, Ethan called the Yeba Kusanagi CT3X. Lizzie's bar was not far away, and soon a red motorcycle appeared on the corner of the street and came to Ethan. After Ethan got in the car, he went straight to Victor's Ripperdoc clinic. When I came to the Ripperdoc clinic, I saw Misty absent-minded in the divination room. Misty stopped Ethan and said, Is your life very dangerous this time? I hope you tell me honestly. Jack is not telling me the truth. Ethan thought about the words and said, It's not easy, but we can handle it. If you tell Misty directly that the two are going to the maelstrom, it is very likely that Jack Wells and Misty will quarrel, so Ethan said it lightly. I've always opposed his work as a mercenary. It's not good for him to lick blood with his head on his trousers belt, but I can't persuade him. He always said that some of Haywood's children couldn't eat, and he also said that he wanted to set up a bigger store for me, and said that he would give me a grand wedding which would cost money. Misty said, maybe this is the way you men will give the best of everything. Misty, Ethan said, I will watch Jack, he will be fine. Misty smiled and said, go in, Victor should be almost there. Leaving in front of Misty's divination house, Ethan went straight to the door of Victor's Ripperdoc clinic. Face recognition found that it was Ethan, and then controlled the rolling shutter door and pulled it up. It's busy inside. Are you here? Jack Wells greeted on the operating table. His right arm was disassembled by various scalpel instruments, leaking some fine iron bones. Jack Wells' right hand was modified by a cyberware, but the last modification was many years ago, and the cyberware at that time only gave people a little strength. The gorilla arms is a relatively large hand prosthesis, so to install it, you must replace the entire arm. You can sit wherever you want, and I won't greet you if I do the delicate work, Victor said while controlling the scalpel instrument to decompose the nerve circuit. Victor, you are busy with your work, I'm just here to take a look. Ethan said, Jack, what does it feel like? Does it hurt? A little bit. Jack Wells said, Victor gave me anesthesia and also drank some alcohol. Although prosthesis replacement is normal, it also needs to connect nerves, which is naturally extremely painful, not to mention that the gorilla arms is still the whole arm. How was your talk with Dexter Deshawn? Jack Wells asked. Ethan said, it's okay, I know some things. Very well, what about the specific action? Jack Wells said again. Ethan shook his head. I refused, we will do it ourselves. It's awesome, but it's strange that Deshawn actually agreed. Jack Wells said, Victor, since is so powerful, I can't hold back. You can get me a new optical implant later. Don't worry, you can leave everything about the cyberware to me. Victor said cooperatively, I haven't seen you so ambitious in a long time, Jack. Of course, Victor, don't look at the level of me and This time it's Dexter Deshawn's line again. We are getting closer and closer to a legend. Yes, for this sake, I will give you the latest Kiroshi optical implant, and then I will show you the highlights and let them see your abilities. That's really interesting. Half an hour later, the gorilla arms and the new optical implant were assembled on Jack Wells' body. There are some differences with the 2077 game. Jack Wells' gorilla arms is not so big, just a circle stronger than the previous arm. The entire arm is made of pitch-black alloy material. Jack Wells clenched his fists and released them, feeling the sufficient strength as if he could kill a cow. Jack, you may not be used to the new prosthesis, but getting used to him is a great help for you. Victor said, I'll get used to it as soon as possible. Jack Wells also put on a few poses. Am I handsome? This question you should ask Misty. After coming out of Victor's Ripperdoc clinic, Jack Wells was held by Misty and gave a lecture. And Ethan came out alone. At this time, an unfamiliar communication came over. Sandra Dorset? Ethan really can't figure it out. Why did this person call him? It stands to reason that the task is over after the end of the mission. How can there be such a thing as after sales? With mixed feelings, Ethan answered the phone. It was still a video call. In the video frame, a young woman with a hot body appeared, and her background was a magnificent building. As a platinum member of the trauma team, how is also normal? Sandra Dorset, Mr. V, do you have time now? I want to see you. Ethan, sorry Miss Sandra, I don't have after-sales service here. Sandra Dorset, Mr. V, you misunderstood. I just wanted to thank you in person. If you hadn't saved me, I would never have survived in the hands of the scavenger. Ethan, you don't have to take it to heart, but how did you find me? Before TT Bug said that Sandra Dorset would not remember what happened, was it bluffing? Sandra Dorset, will you block me if I don't say it? Ethan, I will. Sandra Dorset, then I said in fact I don't have the memory of you saving me. After I woke up in the hospital, I asked someone to ask and I learned your information. Ethan, so it is. Sandra Dorset's status is very high, so after she was kidnapped by the scavenger, Okamoto and Yutako acted as a fixer, and it was not difficult for this little girl to know something afterwards. Mr. V, I'm being honest, can we meet? Sandra blushed slightly at the calm-looking man in the video frame. Originally, she wanted to meet the savior and thank him, but after seeing Ethan's handsome face, she had the idea of meeting. Ethan just wanted to refuse, but after thinking about Deshawn's work, Meredith Stout is also a Militech person and the little girl is also Militech. Maybe it can be blended. Do you know Lizzie's bar? Let's meet there. Okay. After meeting with Sandra Dorset in the evening, Ethan rode the Yaba Kusanagi CT3X back to the Sunshine Apartments. Go back to where you live and fall asleep. Ethan is an unusual mercenary. Other mercenaries like drinking, women, and excitement. Only Ethan likes to sleep when he has nothing to do. After a simple nap, Ethan got up and went to the weapon room to start fiddling with some of his little things. Caller ID, Evelyn Parker. At this time the call came in. Evelyn Parker, V, are you late? Ethan, Evelyn, we haven't made an appointment. Why am I late? Evelyn Parker, what's the matter? Didn't Dexter Deshawn make it clear to you? Ethan, he did mention it, but if I have something to do, I'll go to other things first. Evelyn Parker, you. From the tone of voice, this woman is furious. It's not surprising that Evelyn Parker, who is among constant attention, is used to being treated like royalty. Except in front of a few people, in most cases, only she is the queen. Where has she experienced the taste of being stood up? Ethan said indifferently. Evelyn, I need to remind you, even if we had hot pot together last night, even if you are a customer of this trip, you need to understand something. Customers say what they need and then pay. At least the details in the middle are not under your control. Besides, I'm not a member of the Mox and I'm not your little brother, so be polite, understand. Evelyn Parker was scolded enough, but after thinking about her purpose, it seemed that there was no better candidate for this trip except Ethan, and she quickly put down her anger. Sorry V, I don't understand the rules. Ethan almost wanted to laugh out loud. If that's the case, let's talk later, I have other things here. After speaking, Ethan hung up the communication and ignored it. Perhaps only Ethan dared to talk to customers like this and hang up the phone like this. For Ethan, he could return the deposit to Dexter Deshawn and give up the job. But Evelyn Parker had a hard time finding someone else suitable. There are a lot of mercenary killers in Night City, but there are not many people who dare to go to the Maelstrom to help the tiger's mouth pull its teeth, and also go to the Arasaka Corporation to steal from Arasaka. After going downstairs to buy some side dishes and having a simple afternoon meal, Ethan went out to Lizzie's bar again. After arriving at Lizzie's bar, Ethan went directly to Judy's basement. In the basement, Judy watched Ethan come down while dealing with braindance. V, you can sit as you like. Judy, have you eaten yet? Ethan said, unrelease it yet. Let one of the Mox girls buy it later. Let them not be busy. I brought you something delicious. You see what this is. Ethan opened the food box and took out several small bowls. The bowls contained 2 dishes and a portion of rice. Boiled small greens, Sichuan mapo tofu. When the lid is opened, the hot steam and aroma spread out. Judy wasn't very hungry at first, but her eyes narrowed when she smelled the fragrance of the vegetables. The new oriental dish, it's the little green cabbage that I like, and this is it. Judy has been thinking about it after eating the small green cabbage yesterday. Judy looked at mapo tofu with some confusion. Even if it is not in 2077, the dishes in the East will be a lot more elaborate. Not to mention the people nowadays, who eat Western food or nutritional supplements, have little research on what they eat, and naturally have never seen dishes like mapo tofu. Eat it first, it won't taste good when it's cold, Ethan said. Judy put the computer on standby and started eating with chopsticks. The satisfaction of her taste buds made her full of praise. V, why don't you stop being a mercenary, become my personal chef, and I can make money editing braindance? Judy said. Ethan smiled. Can I understand that you invited me to live off you? Then you should still be a mercenary. Happy times always go by quickly, and the relaxed atmosphere falls apart when Evelyn Parker shows up. Evelyn Parker looked at the two in front of her, especially Ethan. This guy is getting bigger and bigger. Hi, Evelyn, Ethan greeted harmlessly. Evelyn Parker, V, since you're here, let's get down to business. Before that, you need to experience the usual braindance and braindance editing modes. Ethan, I'm here for this. Wait a minute. Judy stopped eating, looked at Ethan and then at Evelyn Parker and said, Evelyn, the mercenary you're looking for is V. This morning, Evelyn came very early, and after handing Judy some new material, she asked Judy to make it as quickly as possible. When the editing started, Judy found out that it had actually involved the Arasaka Corporation. Due to the relationship between the two, Judy did not ask, but she did not expect that the person Evelyn Parker was looking for was Ethan. Obviously, everyone was still eating hot pot on the same table last night, but everything had changed by the next day. Judy's face turned cold and said, Evelyn, you always refuse to say why you want to do this braindance during the day. It turned out to be this kind of thing. The content of this braindance is that Evelyn Parker went to the private suite of the company's Crown Prince Yorinobu Arasaka. From the perspective of Evelyn Parker herself, explore the bedroom of Lai Xuan and locate a secret biochip. Evelyn Parker was silent for a while before saying, Judy, you don't have to worry about this, it won't happen. You will definitely not have an accident because the risks are borne by others. Judy said, the whole Night City knows the reputation of the Arasaka Corporation, and if you go to touch the things of the Arasaka heir, don't you die. Militech Kangtao and the NCPD, which of the major gangs dare to come to Arasaka Corporation to challenge Arasaka directly? You're doing this to directly let V and Jack die. Also, you are also very dangerous. Do you really think that everything can be kept completely secret? Zioe, you were not like this before. Why did you take this step? Judy was really P*******D. She was alone in the basement, disappointed with the whole city. Everyone loses their humanity for a little bit of profit, so she doesn't deal with outsiders. Before that, she only had a few friends from Evelyn Parker and the Mox, but now Ethan and Jack are also her own friends. Because of Evelyn Parker's greed, he directly set up a job to go head-to-head with the Arasaka Corporation. Isn't that courting death? Ethan didn't speak beside him. When he experienced this braindance in the original plot, it was the first time he and Judy met. Judy was just worried about getting burned, but now it's different. Ethan is already her Judy's friend. Having Judy watch friends go on adventures and die is really cruel. Evelyn Parker was slapped by Judy and said, and she didn't retort. After a while she said, Judy, I promise it's the last time. As long as I finish this time, I will not care about everything in Night City in the future. Will you help me one last time? Ethan was beside him, feeling ironic in his heart. Judy, such a cool girl, almost looked close to tears, but Evelyn Parker chose her own ambition first. In the end, she will pay the price for this. Judy looked at Evelyn Parker silently for a few seconds, then turned around and picked up a ready-made braindance chip, just looked at Ethan and said, V, you must come back alive when you do this task. I can't get used to the food in Little China. Ethan stretched out his pinky thumb towards Judy. What do you mean? Judy asked. A form of agreement in our East, 2 people's little fingers hooked together to complete the agreement, and then I will follow the agreement. Judy's little finger touched Ethan's little finger. It feels good. The braindance in 2077 is set to experience all the plots that the braindance stars have experienced. And now, the only braindance that Ethan has experienced so far is Judy's braindance project Desperate Island. So the original Black braindance still has to experience one. Ethan was lying on the operating table, watching Judy busy debugging various values in front of him. V, because you haven't experienced the orthodox braindance, I will give you a sample first. After we go through the process, you will use the one from Evelyn. When Judy called Evelyn Parker's heart instantly surged, but her expression remained. Okay. When ready, start entering light sleep state. After a burst of bright light, Ethan turned into a robber with a pistol who was about to rob. In front of him was a fellow robber who would give him some advice. Robbing the supermarket, the standard black braindance plot. It's very simple, be honest, don't play tricks. You go in and get the cash and then come out, we will sell the recorded material to those perverts in the studio. I understand, Ethan said. Remember, you must make a big noise after you go in because the more exciting it is, the more money they will pay, so let's go. The man operated and blocked all the surveillance electronic eyes of the Target supermarket. After Ethan loaded the pistol, he walked out from the corner, and after entering the Target supermarket, he drew the gun and shouted, "Don't even move." Looking at the dark muzzle, the people in the supermarket started screaming and then squatted down with their heads folded. Ethan pointed a gun at the cashier's boss and took out a bag with the other hand. "Quick, put the cash in. If you play tricks, I'll kill you." The boss started to put money in the drawer with trembling like a sieve. Ethan experienced the first and only robbery. This kind of work is too low for him to do. Just when the boss was loading the money, several guards with guns suddenly rushed in at the door, and they opened fire on Ethan without saying a word. With a small pistol, Ethan can't stand the firepower, not to mention that he has no control over the original braindance. Gunshots resounded in the supermarket, and the robber played by Ethan collapsed on the spot. After coming out of braindance, Ethan's body couldn't stop shaking. Although he knew everything, the experience of death in braindance had triggered his physical response. V, take a deep breath, this is normal. Judy comforted in front of Ethan. Ethan's eyes refocused and saw Judy's delicate face close at hand. Slowly take a deep breath, your cortisol and adrenaline are on the rise, but the hormonal blocker I put in works, nothing happens, you're alive and well. Ethan furrowed his brows and said in surprise, this kind of near-death experience, it's really bad. Take a break and do braindance edit mode again, Judy suggested. The braindance editing mode is to jump out, like a third-person perspective of a sandbox game. All the details and perspectives in the braindance movie can be seen at a glance. After going through the editing mode of heist braindance, the next thing is the main event. Wait a minute, edit the mode directly. Ethan seemed to have thought of something. When Evelyn Parker and Lai Chuan were indescribable, they were recorded as braindance. If you experience another wave, then Ethan will be experiencing intimacy with a man. He is not interested in men. V, each piece of braindance is different. If you go through the editing mode directly, you will miss a lot of details. Evelyn Parker reminded. Ethan glanced at her. Maybe Evelyn, you should find a mercenary who is interested in men. Looking at Ethan's expression of slapping his butt and leaving, Evelyn Parker shut up. After entering the braindance editing mode dominated by Evelyn Parker, Ethan entered it and let Friday copy all the directions and details of the editing mode. Ethan leisurely watched a recording. Evelyn Parker was in good shape, but it was a pity that Lai Chuan was not very strong. After a while, Ethan also exited from the editing mode. V, you should. Ethan nodded and said, as for the battle plan, save yourself. My battle plan has always been made by myself. Evelyn Parker was speechless and felt that she couldn't stay any longer, so she turned and left. After a little more time with Judy, a message from Sandra Dorset came in. When Ethan was about to get up, Judy stopped him. V, I have a gun here for you. Ethan saw that what Judy handed over was the Lizzie pistol. This is what they gave me when I joined the Mox, but I'm not interested in fighting and killing. This gun has never been fired before. Unreleased, I will count it as one for you, your Chinese good luck charm. Remember, come back alive. The data of Lizzie pistol is good, it is a rare weapon. The color paint on it is still pretty nice. Got it, I'm invincible with this. Ethan put away the gun and left the basement. At the entrance of Lizzie's bar, Sandra Dorset specially dressed up and came to Lizzie's bar to wait. For this meeting, she deliberately chose her best-looking clothes and matched her most perfect makeup. The result is that after entering the Kabuki district, many people's eyes are staring at her. But many people gave up the idea of approaching when they looked at the suitcase with the logo of the Militech company in Sandra Dorset's hand. After all, one has to be self-aware. After standing at the intersection for a while, Sandra Dorset saw Ethan coming out of it. Ethan's body has no traces of cyberware modification, and he doesn't look like an exaggerated big guy. Awesome, he looks completely natural, I'm even more handsome than in the video. Ethan also saw Sandra Dorset at a glance, a rare online girl in 2077. Others are either too exaggerated or too European and American. Compared with those, Ethan prefers a softer, more delicate appearance which is more delicate. Hello, Mr. V. I'm, Sandra Dorset was stumbling over his speech. I've read all your biological panels, so I don't need to introduce you. Ethan said lightly. Okay, well, Sandra Dorset now felt drawn to both body and mind. Ethan is not a wood. He feels that Sandra Dorset has a different vision. Although it feels good to be favored by the girl, he is not the type to rush into romance. This is not the place to talk, let's change the place, Ethan suggested. Where Mr. V said to go, we will go. To be honest, I've come to Night City not long ago, so I don't know where there are fun places. Ethan said, then I'll show you the way. Sandra said, going to the side of the road to take a taxi. Although the car rental industry is smashed, it is not extinct. The best rental car in Night City is Delamming, a taxi service that is entirely managed by artificial intelligence and puts the safety and comfort of its passengers as a top priority. The polite personality alone is a good travel companion for passengers, but while traveling with peace of mind, the money spent every time is not a small amount. Don't be so troublesome. Ethan pressed the motorcycle chip, and the Yaba Kusanagi CT3X came to the front from the underground garage. I don't have a spare helmet, so hold on. Sandra Dorset shook her head to show that she didn't care, and she carefully climbed onto the back of the motorcycle. This was the first time she sat behind someone else's motorcycle. Looking at Ethan's back, she suddenly wanted to hug her waist, but she was afraid of scaring others. The two drove directly to Japantown. There are many places for entertainment in Night City, but the strongest comprehensive entertainment is in Japantown or Kabuki district. After all, when it comes to pleasing people, it's all experts at entertainment. Under the colorful neon signboards are all very good storefronts. Ethan and Sandra Dorset strolled around, and soon it was time to part. As soon as it got dark, Ethan always wanted to go home and lie down. Mr. V, I am very happy today, thank you again for saving me. This is my little intention, please accept it. When parting, Sandra Dorset finally handed Ethan the suitcase that he had been carrying for a long time. Ethan was stunned. He thought it contained this girl's self-defense weapon, but he didn't expect it to be a gift for him. Ethan said, "Can I ask what's inside?" The latest cyberware plugin developed by Militech is a product that has not yet been launched. Sandra Dorset said and opened the box directly. There was a light blue high-integrated chip lying in the box. Through the translucent shell, you could even see the program inside running by itself. Ethan glanced at it and was allowed to view it. Prosthetic plugin, Thunder Core manufacturer, Militech release status, unreleased introduction. Developed with cutting-edge Militech, embedded in the prosthesis can increase the electric shock function of the prosthesis, and the electric shock can store energy and explode. Ethan raised his brows in the world of 2077. If prosthetics is a way to improve personal combat power, then prosthetic plugins are the key to determining how strong prosthetics can become. Most of the cyberware plugins sold on the market are of the auxiliary type. Generally speaking, the price of offensive cyberware plugins is not even lower than that of general cyberware. Unexpectedly, the girl Sandra Dorset gave away a top-level offensive prosthesis plugin for military use that has not yet been released. It seems that this girl's status in the Militech company is not low. Mr. V, do you not like it? Seeing that Ethan had remained silent for so long, Sandra Dorset was a little disappointed. Ethan pulled himself out of his thoughts and came back to his senses. It's not that I don't like it, it's simply too valuable. Sandra Dorset shook his head. No, being a mercenary is very dangerous, Mr. V. I believe that the Thunder Core should greatly improve your combat ability. Since the words have come to this point, refusing now would only seem discourteous. Thank you, Miss Sandra. After Ethan accepted the cyberware mod, Sandra Dorset smiled happily. At this time, the Delamming rental car she called also arrived. Mr. V, I have to go back first, let's see you another day. After parting with Sandra Dorset, Ethan returned to the Sunshine Apartments on the Yaba Kusanagi CT3X. After returning to the residence, he immediately began researching it. Friday, can you analyze its construction process for this cyberware mod? Ethan took out the Thunder Core from the suitcase of Militech. Ethan, at your service. Friday's voice sounded and a stream of nanoparticles spread on the top of the Thunder Core. Analyzing and comparing, organizing technical data, optimizing the design. The chip uses a radiative energy conversion system that converts part of the energy into a new medium to enhance compatible equipment. It involves high-precision integration technology, material fission technology, material repolymerization technology. Mark 50 is one of Tony Stark's most proud armors. and it is also the main armor of Iron Man in the later period. In addition to its superior combat performance, the equipped artificial the AI Friday brings together the most cutting-edge technology. It is not difficult to analyze the various technologies in 2077 based on the technical reserves of Tony Stark at that time. Soon, on Friday, he told Ethan the technical steps, technical reasons, and direction coefficients to be improved. While listening, Ethan used a pencil to sketch notes on paper and take notes. He intended to build a cyberware mod himself. Again, 2077 is an era when even smart home systems were proprietary, not to mention weapons. So as long as there is a chance, Ethan will be self-sufficient. Right now, the latest cyberware mod provided by Sandra Dorset could serve as a reference model, allowing Ethan and Friday to complete some research. Friday, jot down the research goals. What I want to do is not just as simple as providing a simple enhancement. I need the energy released by the chip to be attached to the nanoparticles. At the same time, when modifying the material parameters must be optimized. In addition, a separate integrator should be built to store the energy release of the self-made plugin. Ethan talked about his idea. According to Ethan's suggestion, I have made 10 compatible models, and I am further optimizing the comparison. The optimal solution will be integrated. The process will take approximately 3 days. Friday is the real top, able to draw and compare the best models on its own. Ethan also knows that developing a cyberware mod from scratch would take time. Friday, don't worry about that. If I want to simply copy the effect of this cyberware mod, how long will it take you? Ethan provides the required materials, which it can be completed overnight. After getting an accurate answer, Ethan probably knew what to do. The next day, Deshawn and Evelyn Parker both carefully asked how Ethan's preparations were progressing. After all, Ethan doesn't accept the mission plan and deployment of the two, so he can only ask this. Ethan still answered, "Wait patiently. If you interfere again, find someone else." It is conceivable that no second person would dare to take over this hot potato. Ethan didn't bother to care about their mood. No one was going to dictate his pace anyway. It's just a few scraps of maelstrom, and then he could wipe them out whenever he chose. After meeting Jack Wells, Jack found a place to continue practicing with his gorilla arms while Ethan found someone. "Hey, who are you? Why do you have my contact information?" The video was connected, and a very mature woman appeared inside. It was Meredith Stout of the Militech transport team. Ethan said, "I am Deshawn's mercenary. I will solve Flathead that everyone is searching for. Now I want to talk to you about Maelstrom." Meredith Stout is also an executive of Militech, and soon realized something. "You mean Flathead is in the hands of Maelstrom?" Ethan, "Yes, in Night City, other than those cyberpsychos who has the guts to move the company." What Ethan said is the truth. There are many gangs on the border of Night City, and it can only be a little bit of volume between the gangs. Compared with companies and enterprises, ordinary gangs would never touch corporate cargo. Of course, with the exception of Maelstrom, whose brains are full of cyberware modification. Meredith Stout said calmly, "What you said doesn't seem to be enough to convince me. The issue of gangs and companies is a commonplace in Night City. The two sides do not deal with it very much. There will be some friction in private, but on the surface it is still stable." Even as a company executive, Meredith Stout did not have enough authority to launch a private operation against a gang. And she had no reason, believe a stranger based on a few words with just a few words. Ethan was not impatient and said slowly, "Ms. Meredith Stout, it doesn't matter if you don't believe me, but losing the Flathead prototype has placed you in a difficult position. After all, it is the only prototype technology. If your superiors investigate, I believe you will suffer the consequences. And I can identify myself. My last job involved rescuing Sandella Dorset from your company." Meredith Stout heard the words, her eyes sharpened for a moment. She had heard about Sandra. This woman was kidnapped by a scavenger, and when she was on the brink of death, 2 mercenaries saved the situation. "What are your conditions?" Meredith Stout was sharp. "Nothing comes free in the world, she knows it. What I want is naturally what you can do. I'll send you the location later, just come here." After finishing the call with Meredith Stout, Ethan came to ringside. Jack Wells is training in the boxing ring on it. Don't look at Jack Wells' size, he is still very flexible once he started moving. He moved around on the ring, slamming out a jab with a deep sonic boom. If ordinary people take such a punch, they will basically go down immediately. Jack Wells stopped and panted, I've gotten used to these gorilla arms and I can make a big fight at any time." Now Jack Wells speaks in a different manner. Ethan smiled and said, "Jack, then let's go to Maelstrom tonight and sit for a while. You remember to find Victor to get some weapons of your own." Jack Wells grabbed a towel, wiped his sweat, and said, V, I've always wanted to ask, why haven't you installed any cyberware? And your weapons don't look like much either. After so long, Jack Wells still asked. Now that Jack Wells has a new outfit, Ethan is completely unmodified. You don't have to worry about me, I have my means. Ethan said, fine, your marksmanship is so accurate you really can't go to Maelstrom to help you shoot and cover me, so I'll smash Royce's head in. Jack Wells didn't bother. The best way to help Ethan is to eliminate the danger to the point. Stop talking, I still have something to do. You remember to ask Victor to pick up some medical supplies. Don't worry, brother. The so-called small task, that is to get some handy weapons. Now I could not build everything at once with self-developed weapons, so I can only find those iconic weapons in 2077 first. Ethan had a clear goal and soon came to a street, well, familiar place. This street Ethan has been to in the game, and there is nothing special, but there is a very interesting small task next to the garbage can in a certain alley. Ethan walked quickly on the street. When he found the enclosed alley, he easily climbed the wall in 3 or 2 steps and came to the other side. The alley was damp and dark, with a pungent odor. Soon, Ethan found a corpse beside the garbage. Next to the body lay a bright yellow pistol. Ethan glanced at it. It was exactly what he needed. Firearms, Skippy's type smart weapon. After picking up Skippy, an electronic sound was projected along with the image of a virtual rocket. New biometric profile detected. Ethan knew that this gun was the notorious talking gun. Let me introduce myself. User asked technical specifications. HJKE 11 built-in AI smart pistol designation Skippy. Ethan said, Skippy, now I am your new owner. No objections detected. Current biometric data is being erased and new biometric profile is being rebuilt. After picking up Skippy, Ethan did not continue to work with it. After all, Ethan also knew the function of this guy. The user will automatically aim and shoot when encountering a dangerous situation. There are 2 modes in total. Puppy-loving pacifist targets limbs, stone-cold killer targets the head. The time soon came to the evening, and the meeting point between Ethan and Meredith Stout was a motel in Kabuki. When Meredith Stout came to the room, he saw that Ethan had been waiting for a long time. Ethan politely said, Ms. Meredith Stout, before chatting, can you turn off your monitoring equipment? Your brooch is a very nice gadget, but we are cooperating, so it's natural to be sincere, right? Meredith Stout froze, then turned off the monitoring device on the brooch. It was obvious from her expression that she was dissatisfied with a place like a motel. As an executive of Militech, Meredith Stout is also a high-ranking executive, and his clothing, food, housing, and transportation are the best of everything. It is really unaccustomed to lower herself by coming to such a motel now. The motel room is small, but the lighting is extravagant and the air still smells of bad atmospheric perfume. Ethan invited her to sit down. Please sit down. Meredith Stout was unmoved and said straight to the point, let's get to the point. You said that Maelstrom intercepted the convoy and then the prototype technology was in their hands. So you want to say that you can bring out the prototype technology and trade with me? Ethan nodded. I like dealing with intelligent people. Ms. Meredith Stout, you are very smart. Now that I'm here, can you tell me about your conditions? Ethan said, I heard that Ms. Meredith Stout is in charge of the transportation team for Militech. You must have access to some materials, right? Meredith Stout, you want a cyberware mod. Ethan shook his head. What I want is all the materials for making the cyberware mod. Impossible. Meredith Stout blurted out, if you want a cyberware mod-in or the latest weapon products of Militech, I can give it to you, but I cannot provide raw materials. The amount of each batch of materials has to be audited at every stage from the delivery to the warehouse. If something goes wrong, I will be placed in a difficult position. After listening to Meredith Stout's words, Ethan said, I want to ask which matters more between flathead and materials. Meredith Stout's tone choked. Isn't that nonsense? The material of the cyberware mod is only a loss of material, but the flathead is the most advanced complete set of equipment. If it is obtained by a rival company, the consequences will be serious. My intermediary said, the rule is that you cannot catch the tiger cub without entering the tiger's den. Ethan directly placed the responsibility onto Sean. Meredith Stout was silent for a while, and she found that she had no choice. The person in front of her had already figured out all her circumstances. From the moment they met, Ethan had controlled the negotiation from the beginning. In fact, she was right. In the original plot, no matter how hard the protagonist worked, he would only work hard for others. And Ethan is about to step outside that pattern and control the situation himself in his own hands. I promise you, I will give you the materials to make the cyberware mod but the flathead. Ethan waved his hand and said, my rule is that neither side gets to know my full plan. Meredith Stout compromised and left the motel after leaving a message that he would hand over the materials. After finishing one thing, Ethan returned to Layaway's cyberware clinic. Victor is doing some small debugging for Jack Wells. V, are you doing it tonight? It's about time, otherwise the fixer will have to wait. Ethan said, okay, let them see. Victor said and handed over 2 boxes. What is this? Ethan asked. Top-level body armor and a small object that can isolate biometrics so that others can't see personal information. Victor said, it's not worth a lot of money, I'll give it to you. It's rare, Victor. Jack Wells sat up from the operating table. Aren't you always slick? Jack, if I don't pull a penny, you'll be so indebted that you won't even be able to wear underwear. Victor took out a glass of red wine from the refrigerator and poured 3 glasses. The madmen of Maelstrom, it's not bad to have you to treat them. Guys, I wish you a successful victory. Leaving the cyberware clinic, Ethan and Jack Wells got into the car and drove towards the industrial area in the northern part of Watson. In the car, I simply changed clothes. Body armor for suits, black ultra goggles to prevent biometric identification. They looked like agents dressed in black. While driving the car, Jack Wells looked in the mirror. How handsome. Ethan didn't bother to interrupt Jack Wells' narcissism, so he said nothing and closed his eyes. When he closed his eyes and pondered, Ethan used the sign-ins he had accumulated. He had not checked in the past few days, and he had come to accumulate the number of sign-ins. Sign in successfully. Congratulations on getting the perfect weapon, Overwatch sniper rifle. The shape is almost the same as in the 2077 game, but the functional attributes are more than far stronger. Anything produced by the system was guaranteed to be exceptional. The car came out of the urban area of Watson and drove towards the north. The further north, the fewer buildings. The industrial area occupied by Maelstrom was abandoned decades ago, and it was used as the base camp of Maelstrom. A food processing plant in an industrial area was the destination of the trip. Under the moonlight, the car drove straight to the food processing plant. V, here we are. Ethan opened his eyes. Jack, tonight is the time for hunting and stay sharp. Jack Wells said he received, as long as they dare to jump, I will beat them to death. All Foods, home of Maelstrom. To be precise, the entire industrial park is their territory. After getting the car in order, Ethan and Jack Wells walked to the door of the food processing plant. Sometimes I really don't want to see Maelstrom helping these bastards. As Jack Wells walked, he complained, you know, V, these guys from Maelstrom are complete lunatics and they are far from other gangs. Of course Ethan knew, but he still complied. Is there any difference between other gangs? There are many gangs in Night City and not many can be named. Take the Valentino gang in Haywood, for example. The Valentino gang believe in God and the Virgin Mary. What do they like? What do they hate? And what is the bottom line? Their rules and boundaries are clear. The other gangs have different behaviors and industries, but at least they follow the rules. But Maelstrom follows no rules. While talking, the two have come to the gate of the All Foods processing plant. Ethan walked to the security intercom on the wall and pressed it. After a while, a hoarse voice sounded, who are you and who are you looking for? We came to Royce. Dexter Deshawn sent us here. Ethan said, anyway, it's right to push Deshawn on something. The Deshawn's people then come in. I've been waiting for you for a long time. The voice fell, and the door of the All Foods processing factory slowly opened. After the door is opened, you can see the 2 automated turrets at the door at a glance. A memming for the infrared rays flashed by Ethan and Jack Wells and did not execute the attack order. Ethan and Jack Wells walked in. The dark workshop was full of debris and some unnamed weapons and equipment. Most of these things are bought on the black market or they are robbed. As Ethan walked, he saw a lot of Militech products. Honey, this is so armed to the teeth. Jack Wells was also shocked. It was also the first time he came to the base camp of Maelstrom. It was unbelievable that this group of lunatics had so many weapons. V, this time is a tough battle. Don't worry, Jack, take your time. Now the duo of Ethan and Jack Wells, Ethan has become a stabilizing force. No matter how difficult the situation is, Ethan is not surprised. Jack Wells is also convinced of this. V is a man of great ability. The two went all the way and then entered a brightly lit workshop. In the workshop, many people from Maelstrom swarmed, watching Ethan and Jack Wells walk in, and they all cast a bad look. 2. Welcome to Maelstrom, now take the elevator up. The voice sounded again on the radio. After getting on the elevator, Jack Wells always felt a little nervous. Ethan motioned him to calm down. Jack, calm down, you can't lose your momentum. Jack looked at Ethan, who was completely calm, and asked, V, aren't you nervous at all? Fine. The elevator stopped quickly, and the elevator door opened to see a guy who was transformed like a heavily modified cyborg walking over. "I'm Dom Down, what do you want?" "My fixer and you Maelstrom helped to buy a small thing and the money has been paid to Brick. Sit down and talk." Ethan sat on the sofa generously, and Jack also sat on another set of sofas. Sitting on the table, Dum Dum found a red inhaler from his bag and handed it over. "Guests should be treated properly. Want some?" Ethan waved his hand and said, "It's not good, let's talk about it. You are now in charge of Royce. What about others?" "I can talk to him in person. If Royce is not here, it's the same with me." Dum Dum stood up and walked around a few times. "What do you say you want?" "Not long ago, among the items you grabbed from the Militech transport team, there was a gadget called a flathead. There is such a thing, do you want it?" Dum Dum clapped his hands, and a little brother from Maelstrom brought over a special storage box. "This thing is a bit interesting, let's open your eyes." Dum Dum said and opened the box, and the flathead crawled out of the box looking like a spider. "Small flathead, type MTOD-12. The serial number is erased, the access ban is resolved, and it can be yours. It's a lot of tricks: dynamic light thermal camouflage armor, crow controller immersive cognition, and a prototype drive unit made of titanium alloy fiber." Ethan said, "No need to pitch it. We want the bot." Happy, Dum Dum closed the box again. "Where's the payment?" At this time, a rolling shutter door was pulled up in front of Ethan, and Royce himself also appeared. Seeing this, Ethan deliberately said in a voice that everyone could hear, "The money was given to Brick. According to the rules, we can take it away." "Rules? What fucking rules?" Royce came over from behind the door imposingly. Doom quickly stepped aside with his flathead. Royce came to Ethan in 3 or 2 steps, raised his pistol, and aimed the black muzzle at Ethan's forehead. "I said the money twice. I paid twice, €20,000, not a penny." Royce's transformation was more thorough. Half of his face was gone, and the optical cyberware eyes that leaked out were fiercely exposed, and he really had the aura of a gang leader. "You chrome-addicted bastard, who are you pointing your gun at?" Jack Wells was also on fire and drew his gun directly at Royce. Jack Wells, who was once born in the Valentino gang, is no stranger to gang life. His most ruthless is Maelstrom that does not follow the rules. In an instant, all Maelstrom members present leveled their weapons at the 2 people in the middle. Under such a tense atmosphere, Ethan was much calmer. He slowly stood up from the sofa, as if the barrel of the gun pointed in front of him didn't exist. "Royce, I don't like being pointed at by someone with a gun," Ethan said coldly. "You have 3 seconds to say who asked you to come and who do you help with." Royce put his finger on the trigger. "Dexter Deshawn," Ethan said. "The fixer who tangled with the animals and made enemies in Pacifica." Royce didn't put down his gun. Obviously, Deshawn's reputation couldn't hold him back. Royce jokingly said, "Deshawn, this fat pig sent the 2 of you to die. You guys didn't know where I was when I came out to hang out. Two worthless mercenaries dared to come to Maelstrom to help me get in trouble. Now you have 2 choices: pay €30,000 to take the robot away, or I will kill you." This is a typical dogfight. Brick took the money and was replaced by Royce seizing power. The arrogant Royce took himself too seriously, so he dared to openly renege on the deal. Now it is even more excessive, and he had raised the price again, has come to €30,000. If you follow the original story, communicate with Meredith Stout in advance, and take the virus-loaded cred chip from the Militech side, Ethan can make a deal. However, Ethan has already taken control of the situation, so there is no money. "What if I choose neither?" Ethan said. "Then go to hell." Royce gave a wicked laugh and was about to let Ethan go on the road. At the same time, Ethan has already taken out the Skippy. Detecting that the user is threatened, the cold-blooded killer mode is automatically turned on and automatic targeting engaged. Boom! Before Royce fired, Skippy took the lead in locking his head and firing directly. In addition to some functions that ordinary weapons can't do, smart weapons are even more powerful than ordinary weapons. The sound of Skippy's shot cracked like a shotgun blast, and one shot directly hit Royce's optical cyberware eye and electronic brain exposed on his face. One shot and it was smashed. After the first shot destroyed Royce, the battle was about to start. Ethan raised his hand and Skippy had automatically locked other people into headshot mode. After putting bullets through the heads of 2 people in a row, Ethan jumped behind the sofa. Jack Wells, on the other hand, pounced forward, revealing the jet-black gorilla arm of the gorilla fist, and smashing it out with one punch, he killed Dum Dum, who was escaping with a flathead. Then Jack Wells threw the box with the flathead towards Ethan, then bent over to pick up 2 firearms, directly blocked the door, and opened fire on the other side. "The chops of Maelstrom, your grandfather Jack will send them to you. Some machine guns are heavy, and ordinary people can only fight with one, But after Jack Wells installed the Gorilla Fist arm, it was very easy to fire double machine guns. The tough guy that Valentino helped out is so fierce. After the sofa, Ethan caught the flathead, and at the same time took out the sniper gun Overwatch signed before. After robbing Royce again, the rest of Maelstrom had already began fighting their way through of the all foods processing plant to death, and the outer members were also retreating frantically. Friday, invade all the surveillance electronic eyes and automatic fire weapons here, Ethan said. Ethan remembered that when he was playing here in the game before, some hackers of Maelstrom directly dispatched the monitoring electronic eyes in the factory to check the location, and some Militech weapons were also activated. It is not difficult to kill Royce here, but the challenge was escaping afterward. Now that there is Friday to take control of the entire network, then the situation will be reversed. Jack, Ethan shouted and came to an inspection passage which leads directly to the workshop outside. We need to get out, we can't stay here. Just do as you said. Jack Wells decisively dropped 2 machine guns and came to Ethan. Jack, take this. Ethan handed Shiji Bao directly. The power of Skippy is much stronger than Jack Wells' pistol. A new fingerprint was detected and Skippy stopped working given other biometric data currently available. After Jack Wells took over the Skippy, this guy started to work on it. Is this? Jack Wells has never seen such a smart weapon. Although the values are very high, it is strange. A talking smart weapon, but enough. Ethan explained and said to Skippy, Skippy, I authorize the person in front of me to use you. The cheap little rocket phantom jumped out again at the sound of the gunshots. Skippy does not support secondary user mode. If you don't support it, then I don't need to keep you. I will tear you apart and turn it into waste. AI will also enter the cyberspace and will never be restored, Ethan said angrily. The little rocket phantom made a fearful expression. Let's not be hasty, the secondary user mode is enabled and the authorized user, Jack Wells. Jack Wells played with Skippy and found it interesting after understanding the function. Jack, let's go out before the others surround us, Ethan said. Jack Wells nodded. You gave me this gadget, what do you use? Ethan directly showed the Overwatch sniper rifle and said, I will use this sniper rifle to cover you. Interesting, shall we go? The two rushed out from the maintenance channel, and Jack Wells switched to the cold-blooded killer mode with Skippy in his hand, with a look of vigilance. There seems to be a lot of Militech in front. Don't worry, everything here was hacked in advance by me. Ethan said, sure enough, you are still thoughtful. Jack Wells smiled, and now he has no worries. The two came all the way to a spacious workshop. The terrain in the workshop is very complicated. There are various processing machines and food conveyor belts in the food processing plant. Some 3-story stairs are even more intricate. There were bursts of footsteps outside, and members of Maelstrom could be seen rushing in from some gaps. Ethan and Jack Wells winked, and Jack touched the stairs on the left. At this time, Jack's mercenary experience showed. In addition to sneaking and killing, mercenaries use the terrain to fight the enemy. Jack Wells carefully shuttled behind the various boxes and then took the Skippy at the place where a member of Maelstrom stood. Boom, stone cold killer, automatic lock. After killing an unlucky ghost with one shot, Jack Wells quickly moved his position, and the people from Maelstrom outside also opened fire on this side. Those bullets were completely indiscriminate strafing. Ethan stood on a high place, put Xiaoping's head down, and then picked up the cat. With weapon proficiency and the firearms produced by the system, it can be said that as long as Ethan pulls the trigger, he can directly take away the person under his sniper scope. But a normal shot was too ordinary, and so he decided to enhance it. Ethan took out the latest Thunder Core of Militech from the bag. The Thunder Core is inserted into Overwatch's plug-in slot, and suddenly Overwatch has the special bonus of lightning bullets. Weapon, Overwatch Sniper Rifle. Current plugin, Core of Thunder. Bullet effect, Thunderstorm hit the target. There is a chance to trigger a chain electric shock effect on multiple targets within the target range. In the 2077 game, the cyberware mod is dedicated to augmenting cyberware weapons. Like other weapons, it is basically produced from the design, and the various numerical panels of itself are constant. Fortunately, the cat in Ethan's hand is a product of the system, so naturally there is no problem of being unusable. Ethan raised his gun, and a member of Maelstrom with a heavy machine gun appeared under the sniper scope. The guy held the machine gun and shot frantically at the location of Jack Wells. Stab it! Ethan pulled the trigger, and an electric roar sounded. The lightning bolt hit the man's head in an instant, and at the same time as the bullet shattered his skull, an irregular electric light bounced on the body of the person next to him, burning a large hole in his chest. After sniping the two of them, Ethan adjusted his angle of view and shot the iron stairs deliberately. Those guys with cats on their waists were instantly electrocuted, and the whole person twitched. The powerful electricity directly burned out their electronic brains, and their bodies fell uncontrollably from above. In order to control more cyberware and weapons, the madmen of Maelstrom also modified their brains. As long as there is an external force directly invading the brain, it is basically the end of being left brain-dead by the current. After the idea was confirmed, Ethan stopped holding back. When those guys were walking in places where there was iron, a shot was fired on the iron, chain shocks, rapid cerebral palsy. And just like that, a one-sided massacre began. After playing for a while, Jack Wells learned the benefits of the puppy-loving pacifist mode. Skippy specializing in lower limbs. After every shot, one kneecap shattered. That picture is incredible. After half an hour, the fighting gradually ceased. Ethan and Jack Wells walked out of the workshop. Those who came to surround them in the vortex help everyone have every last one, and they have all been killed. Jack Wells's Chalusi optical cyberware eye glanced around, and there were piles of weapons and equipment full of Militech, as well as some cyberware materials and finished cyberware that were snatched from everywhere. I'll go, it's a good thing. Jack Wells saw a box specially placed for cyberware mods, and the words Beast Mode could be seen from the outside. This prosthesis plugin is just right for the type of prosthesis Gorilla Fist Arm. It's a rare visit, so I'm welcome. Jack Wells picked up the box directly. Prosthetic plugins are not cheap, and who would refuse it if they could take it for nothing? Ethan has nothing to say about Jack's scavenging. If he doesn't have a system, it is estimated that he will be more aggressive than Jack Wells. The two walked leisurely towards the outside of the All Foods processing plant. Ethan picked up 2 leather jackets with rivets which were the logo of Maelstrom. "V, do you like clothes?" said Jack Wells. "Empty-handed, I always feel that I have done nothing, it is a trophy." Ethan suddenly looked at a place. He knew that the boss of Maelstrom Brick was not dead at all. He was placed under house arrest by Royce. In the game, players can choose to save them. But it's not a game now, and the only advantage of Brick is that it won't be as black as Royce. But Maelstrom's tradition of madly transforming the massacre of the poor also has something to do with him. Such people do not deserve sympathy. After the two walked out of the All Foods processing plant, they were surrounded by a convoy of Militech. Not only armored vehicles, but even combat AVs flew in the air. There were a lot of guns aimed at the two around. In front of an armored vehicle, a figure appeared in the dazzling headlights. It was Meredith Stout. "V, are we just out of the wolf's den and into the tiger's jaws?" Jack Wells didn't know the deal between Ethan and Meredith Stout, so he panicked when he saw such a big battle of Militech. "Don't worry, Jack. If they were going to deal with us, they'd already be shooting." Ethan handed Jack the box with the flathead, then walked towards Meredith Stout. "MS Meredith Stout, good evening." Meredith Stout wrapped his arms around him, looked Ethan up and down, and noticed Maelstrom leather jacket on him. "Is the matter resolved?" Ethan nodded. Meredith Stout winked, and a car drove up. "This car is full of manufacturing materials for various cyberware mods. According to the agreement, you should give me the flathead." Ethan glanced at the car, and the material for the cyberware mod was all over the car. As expected of an executive, Ethan said, "Ms. Meredith Stout is refreshing, but unfortunately I can't give you the flathead because this is what the customer wants." As soon as these words came out, the armed personnel of the Militech next to him aimed their guns at Ethan again. As long as Ms. Meredith Stout gave an order, they would fire without hesitation, and then smash the people in front of them into a sieve. Meredith Stout's face was slightly gloomy. She didn't order Ethan to take action but said, "I'm curious why you can break the agreement with me in this situation." "Sir Meredith Stout, I can do a man like him with one shot." A burly man came over and drew his gun. "Retreat." Meredith Stout glanced at his man, and his indifferent eyes made the burly man stop what he was doing. "I said that I like to work with smart people." Ethan said, "Flathead is a prototype technology. It is important to say it is important, and it is not important to say it is not important. Even if Ms. Meredith Stout takes back the flathead, the punishment for losing it will still come down, but as long as you change the angle, things will be different." Meredith Stout listened to what Ethan meant and knew it well. Flathead was taken away by Maelstrom under her own management, so even if she got the things back, she couldn't hide the fact that she was dereliction of duty. "Go on." Ethan pointed at the door of All Foods processing plant and said, "The Maelstrom intercepted the Militech items. Ms. Meredith Stout directly stormed Maelstrom's stronghold of Maelstrom and killed the leader Royce on the spot. Would that achievement outweigh Flathead? If it's not enough, then let me tell you, the former boss of Maelstrom, Brick, is inside. You know Brick, to solve Maelstrom from the source and also eliminate a major source of cyberpsychosis. Is that enough? Meredith Stout's eyes froze. This is more than a flathead. It was worth far more than 10 flatheads. It was not the first time that the Uzumaki gang intercepted Militech items. If they took the opportunity to break through the Uzumaki gang in one fell swoop, this kind of credit would not only cover the fault of the whole thing, but also allow her to move up. Mr. V. Flathead belongs to you, and you will receive preferred pricing on future Militech products for you. Meredith Stout made his own choice. Ethan laughed. Ms. Meredith Stout, have a good evening. After saving the incident, Ethan greeted him, and Jack Wells hurriedly walked directly to the car loaded with the cyberware mod material with a flathead. The two of them drove out of the Militech cordon of Militech, drove their car, and swaggered out of it. Jack Wells said with some fear, "Grass, my palms are sweaty." Ethan, does your gorilla arm sweat? Jack Wells, cough, don't pay attention to these details, but to be honest, I came out and saw the Militech woman. I think we were both dead. However, V, you are really awesome. You got a few words to settle the matter, and you even got a car for nothing. Listening to the praise of his brother Jack Wells, Ethan is still very comfortable. Military technology cars are not bad, and it looks impressive when you drive out. You can just take it and drive it when you go back. Ethan said, V, are you serious? Jack Wells couldn't wait. Just drive out in this car. It's very effective in flirting with girls, and I won't go on a date with Misty in the future because the car is not suitable, and then take the subway. Already. I have to take care of my brother's face, Jack. Ethan joked, you go back to a repair shop, change the bodywork, and change the fuel injection device, and no one will recognize it. Jack Wells quickly gave a thumbs up. V, I am completely convinced. How are you good at everything? It's not a day or two that I'm great. The two of them drove to Watson City, laughing and laughing along the way. When passing through the Sunshine Apartments again, Ethan got off the car and got all the cyberware mod materials for a car upstairs. Jack Wells happily drove the new car away. In the top-floor residence, just after Ethan took a shower, the communication rang. Caller ID, Dexter Deshawn. Good evening, Mr. V. How are things going? Dexter Deshawn's voice rang out. Ethan said, it's settled, Flathead is in my hands. As expected of a top-tier mercenary, Mr. V's strength is too surprising. I will transfer the money later. Ethan refused. These days, who uses direct transfers for work like this? When we meet, we will directly cash. Strange to say, in 2077, when technology is so advanced, most of the way to transfer accounts is cash. There is no other reason. Money chips can be implanted with viruses. If the virus directly enters the brain, there may be lose both their money and their life, so all transactions involving money are cash. Dexter Deshawn said nicely, just do as Mr. V said, so let's meet at the afterlife now, tomorrow. Ethan yawned, I was in Maelstrom helping the bloodbath just now, but now I'll be gone, I have to sleep. Dexter Deshawn's tone choked, but for the sake of the bigger picture it didn't happen. Mr. V said, then please rest well. After hanging up the black fat man, Ethan just smiled. In the 2077 game, players have been in a state of working for big men. The most dangerous and hardest bones were gnawed, and the result was only the poor hard-earned money. As for the best interest, of course, the so-called fixer or the customer will laugh at it. Once the matter is exposed, for their own benefit, they will slash at the mercenary. Ethan naturally wouldn't put himself in this situation. Dexter Deshawn, the Arasaka Corporation, Evelyn Parker, or Militech or other people or organizations of all kinds, don't even think about taking advantage of Ethan on Ethan. Leaving these trivial matters behind, Ethan glanced at the cyberware mod materials sent by Meredith Stout. For work such as copying the 2077 cyberware mod, as long as there are materials, it can be directly measured on Friday. Friday, the rest is up to you. After a night of silence, Ethan fell asleep and woke up naturally the next day. On the workbench in the weapon room, dozens of cyberware mods were neatly arranged. Ethan was also shocked when he got up and saw it. He thought Friday was talking about a single cyberware mod overnight, but unexpectedly he used up all the plugin materials that could be composed in one night. Friday, good job, Ethan praised. You're welcome, Ethan. Ethan came to the workbench and picked up a cyberware mod at random. Whether it is the polymerization process, the release of energy consumption, as well as the continuous fission stability and energy density, it is even superior to the Thunder Core given by Sandra Dorsett a few days ago. You must know that the Thunderbolt Core is a cyberware mod that has not yet been released by Militech. Ethan was playing with the cyberware mod, looking at the outline of Night City with bright eyes. a bold plan appeared in his mind. Cyberpunk 2077 is a world where capitalism has developed to the extreme. Here, the size of the company has surpassed that of the country. The company controls the military industry, technology, people's livelihood, and almost all upper-level channels, and ordinary people can only survive under such oppression. The Night City's class structure had become rigid, and conflict existed everywhere. But even so, the law of the jungle cannot be escaped. Night City is the epitome of the whole world. If Night City is regarded as a forest, then the Arasaka Corporation is the aging king of the jungle, while other corporate companies are not easy to mess with in the forest. If Ethan wants to stand out in this jungle game, then he must first earn a place at the table. Therefore, you need to form your own power. This is also the vague idea that Ethan had when he entered Night City. Although I always talk to Jack Wells about burning down Night City and establishing a new order, but I really want to achieve this goal, and it can't be done by just improvising from job to job. In the game's plot, the relic heist is a major turning point. Because of Evelyn Parker's incomplete information and the idea of being reckless ambition, Deshawn thought of the task too simply. The final result is that T-Bug was found and killed by the Arasaka Netrunners, and Jack was also shot in the abdomen under the pursuit of the Arasaka Corporation and died because of excessive blood loss. It can be said that all the bad things broke out here. But now Ethan sees another way out from this incident. He not only wants to take out the relic, but also takes advantage of the Arasaka Corporation's runaway. Then take advantage of the situation to become a legend of Night City in one fell swoop, and then place his own faction on the board to get the ticket to compete for control of Night City. A series of thoughts flashed back in his mind, and even Ethan himself was a little overwhelmed. Ambition burned in his chest since there is such a good opportunity now. Then he would witness it, become part of it, and conquer it. Lizzie's bar. When Ethan appeared at the door, the Mox girl with a baseball bat also said hello. V, I haven't seen you for a few days, are you okay? Very good. After saying hello, Ethan entered the Lizzie's bar and sat down at the booth. After waiting for a while, Jack Wells also came late from outside. Sorry V, I explained to Misty for a long time, so I wasted time. Jack Wells came to him and said, as an apology, I bought this wine today. Ethan didn't argue with him, simply accepted. The waiter quickly brought out the tequila that both of them loved to drink. Ethan didn't say a word. He poured the wine into the glass and started drinking cup after cup without stopping. When Jack Wells had just finished drinking, Ethan had already had 3 glasses and started pouring the 4th one. Something on your mind? Jack Wells said, tell me what. Ethan looked up at Jack Wells and said, Jack, do you believe me? Jack Wells said, of course, aren't you nonsense, of course I believe you. After careful calculation, the two have fought side by side several times. Ethan smiled lightly and said, Deshawn's side urged us again. It is estimated that we will go to the next job in the next 2 days. Jack Wells nodded, go to the Konpeki Plaza and steal the toys of Yorinobu Arasaka. I have never done such an exciting errand in my life, but does this have anything to do with whether you believe it or not? Yes, Ethan said, this time it's a life and death experience. V, fortune favors the bold we. Ethan motioned Jack Wells to shut up first. This time the job is more complicated than you can imagine, and Dexter Deshawn cannot handle it. This is no doubt obvious. Although Jack Wells is slow, he is not stupid. He quickly understood Ethan's intention. You mean there is something wrong about this job? Ethan said, I can't explain this in 3 or 2 sentences. After the whole thing is over, I will tell you one by one. Now is not the time. Jack Wells was silent for a while and blew half a bottle of tequila directly. Compared with Deshawn, of course I believe in my brother V, do whatever you say. Ethan said, I made an appointment with Deshawn to meet at the next Life Bar tomorrow. At that time he will tell a series of action plans about stealing Relic, but I said that he cannot handle it, so it will be after tomorrow. Listen to me in everything. Jack Wells looked at Ethan's extremely serious expression. It was the first time he saw Ethan's side. Fine, I'll follow your lead. After asking Jack Wells to find Victor for a new cyberware upgrade, Ethan came to Judy's underground studio. As usual, Judy is still tinkering with braindance in front of the computer equipment. Seeing Ethan appear, Judy immediately ended the work at hand. V, have a couple of drinks with Jake at Lizzie and drop by to have a look. Ethan walked down the stairs and saw that on Judy's workbench, one of the monitors was playing News Channel 54 of Night City. Stan, the famous host of Night City, is explaining about the upcoming establishment of Militech companies in Watson's North Industrial Zone. Hello, dear Night City viewers, I'm your old friend Stan. Let's talk to you today about what's new in Night City. Just this morning, the Militech company announced that it will officially settle in the old industrial area of Watson North District soon and set it up as the #2 research institute of the Militech company. As we all know, there is the territory of the cyber madman Maelstrom. What is the reason the #2 research institute of Militech will help the nest in Maelstrom? Let's hear what the relevant person in charge of Militech has to say. As soon as the camera turned, it immediately cut to the interview session. The reporter from the news station interviewed the people of Militech with some non-painful questions. I just opened it up to take a look, that's all. Judy said without silver 300 tails here. Ethan nodded, very good, pay more attention to the news outside. Judy said, is this trip going well for Maelstrom? Ethan found a seat and sat down. It's okay overall. The former boss of Maelstrom was a man named Brick, but his younger brother Royce replaced him. Royce wanted to black out and then I shot him. Judy couldn't help laughing. She wouldn't believe it was as easy as Ethan said. The real situation should be extremely dangerous. Next, are you going to steal from Yorinobu Arasaka? Ethan said, this is indeed the case as far as the contract is concerned. Judy was silent for a while before saying, then can I still eat delicious oriental food? Sure. Although Judy had already made an agreement with Ethan with the Lizzie pistol, she was still a little worried as the job of stealing Relic was getting closer and closer. I don't like this feeling very much, Zio AI. I can't persuade her path is too reckless. Judy said, it's not your fault. Ethan comforted, everyone has their own path and their own choices. You choose a person to develop braindance, and you want to use the braindance game to end the evil caused by braindance, and some people will pay everything for the money and status they want. As for the price, you need to bear it yourself. At this moment, Ethan seems to be channeling Deshawn and his speaking in of philosophical theories. Judy suddenly smiled and said, V, do you still need to know philosophy when you are a mercenary? Ethan said, doesn't that make me sound impressive? The originally heavy atmosphere was resolved. In fact, what Ethan said just now was just another warning for Judy. Evelyn Parker can't play such a big game, but she won't stop before the crisis hits. Ethan didn't sympathize with her and didn't think she was pitiful. Throwing aside some subjective factors in the final analysis, it is a sentence, everyone should be responsible for their own choices. Ethan, Judy, do you know the legend of Night City? Judy, old-fashioned questions, mercenaries, street gangsters, street criminals, reckless mercenaries, no matter it is all kinds of people, they can't avoid the topic of a legend. Every morning Stan talks about them, but all I remember is that the legends of Night City usually end up in graveyards. Ethan smiled and said, after tomorrow there will be 2 more legendary characters in Night City, and they'll still be alive. Judy, this moment deserves a drink, otherwise I'll have to toast the legend. The two looked at each other and then laughed. After leaving Lizzie's bar, Ethan went to Victor's cyberware clinic. The relic stealing mission this time was directly carried out with the full force of the short Arasaka Corporation. Preparation must be foolproof. When Ethan arrived, Jack Wells still hadn't woken up from the anesthesia. Victor poured a glass of wine for Ethan. Jack told me your job tomorrow night is to go to the Arasaka Corporation. Ethan took a sip of his wine and said, go to the Konpeki Plaza for a walk. The legends of Night City are all in the graveyard, of course there are exceptions. Victor said slowly, when Jack told me just now he was full of confidence. This guy is always very confident. Ethan said, Victor, you should also have some confidence in us. Victor pushed on his sunglasses and said, if you want to do it, let's make Night City remember your names. I believe many people will see it. Victor had a lot of honors in the ring when he was young. It can be said that cyberware surgery and boxing are his whole life. People who grew up on the street understand only one truth. Either become a legend or look up to a legend.
Hello, everyone. As we wrap up this video, I want to share a quick note. I have a Patreon account. If you'd like to support me and enjoy on-demand audiobooks, you can become a Patreon member. Alternatively, you can check out my Google Drive link, which has 500+ novel audiobooks available through my Ko-fi or Patreon shop. I appreciate your support.